Stocks back to the upside here this morning to kick things off on day two of mega cap tech earnings to come later on tonight. We'll get Apple on the back of Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla after the close last night. Both Meta and Tesla back to the upside here this morning. Microsoft, not so much. It was record Capex for Microsoft that seems to be a bit of a sticking point here as far as their earnings are concerned. We'll talk about that coming up. The Fed, meanwhile, holding as expected yesterday on interest rates. Fed Watch Tool, however, still pricing in 2 cuts before the end of the year. Fed Chair Powell very clear in his messaging yesterday, stating that they will make the next move on interest rates based on data, not on what the calendar is saying, which I think the market kind of took as a ho-hum moment. That was the least volatile Fed day I've witnessed in quite some time. But I mean, what else is he going to say at this point? I mean, it's been the message from the Fed, from Powell specifically for months now.
I mean, I'm just speaking for myself, but that was one of the more bullish, one of the more dovish statements that wasn't accompanied with a Fed cut. He said basically the U.S. economy chugs along every single time they think it's going to hiccup. He talked about tariff-related inflation and how it could come to a head by the second half or the middle part of this year. So, I mean, I don't know. I personally liked what I heard in terms of numbers, in terms of forecasting economic strength from the Fed. So, yeah, we'll have to see.
What do you make of that, though? Like the simple fact that he went straight to the point and said, the next move will come based on data, not on
That's nothing
what
new,
calendar
Brendo.
it is.
He constantly says that, data dependent, data dependent. It was more the nuance of how he kept stressing the strength of the U.S. economy, even though they felt there would be hurdles along the way. Those hurdles were unaffecting it or ineffectual in kind of derailing it from continuation. I personally have been following his statements more for about 6 years now, and this was one of the more bullish ones that I personally have watched.
And I was wondering, and you messaged me halfway through that and kind of said the same thing, and I was wondering in the moment, was it more just the filters have come off and he knows he's coming to the end, so
I'm just going to say it.
It just kind of seems like he doesn't care at this point as much anyways, and why would he after everything he's been through? But anyway, we'll keep an eye on any comments that come from that. But yeah, I mean, lots of things moving around here this morning. Once again, Tesla, one of those, back to 440 right now. Just hearing, yeah, we're getting a bit of an uptick once again for Tesla. Nice move. We did give some of that back on the call. Wasn't too much, I read, exciting wise coming from Tesla on the call last night. So we'll see if we can hold some of these levels. Microsoft, on the other hand, not so much. We're back to, what is this, 450, I guess, trying to bounce off 450 right now.
Isn't this interesting? A tale of two different stories, right? Record Capex for Meta, record Capex for Microsoft. The market rewards one and makes the other one pay. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't other variables. For example, Azure, right, didn't grow as quickly, so that probably had a bit of a negative effect. But it's really interesting. I was forecasting it the other way because, again, like I said yesterday to you, I don't see, the immediacy of how Meta is going to monetize all this Capex, whereas Microsoft, where they're monetizing it through NeoCloud, right? So interesting how the market digested that.
And it's becoming more clear that the market's going to reward those who are already monetizing and have a clear path to it versus, just hopes and prayers at this point. So a lot to consider coming today, but later on today, obviously, Apple going to be the next benchmark for the overall market, guys. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. And
morning.
I don't know, just on that the Microsoft Meta thing, at least for Microsoft, 45%, almost half of their backlog was OpenAI. And if we're getting concerned about that, then I think maybe that could have been something. You can't explain the way the entire move. They had a good quarter, but maybe that was a reason why it moved around to the downside the way it did. Now, that said, I heard, Brendan was like, and we said the same thing, Sean. It was like, well, the market itself didn't move that much on a Fed day if you look at the overall. But if you look at where we did move, like silver was a 5% move during the Fed. From top to bottom. We went 100, basically $100 or just above there. We're at 100.5. It got all the way to 106 and a half. So $6 move. I mean, yeah, over 5% move over there. And you looked over at what gold was doing during that time as well. And it's maybe not as big, but it did a couple of points. So fair enough. You make the argument, and you'd be right to say that the Qs were waiting around for obviously some pretty big earnings and weren't going to move that much. But there was plenty of volatility. It was just not in the necessary space. And I think that was because we had big earnings to come through, and we're not done yet. We got a bunch this morning. I mean, you got Caterpillar, you got Lockheed as well. After the bell, we're going to tonight stick around because we're going to have Apple. Obviously, you might have heard of them. And SanDisk as well. That should be another big one. So it was to me, it was more the fact that the overall market was waiting for the big earnings, and it was like Powell wasn't really saying much of anything that was going to move the litmus. So it was just the volatility stayed where it's been in the metals, and everything else just was sort of waiting around. So you know where you got to be looking today. Silver will be on the mind. Certainly, obviously, Meta, unbelievable to be up over $700. Great Q for them. And yeah, I think definitely catch people by surprise. But don't sleep on the fact that Lockheed and IBM made all-time highs as well.
Yeah, IBM 324. Thank you, Randy.
Aren't there though?
These look.
This is a very depressing.
Those look kind of questionable.
Little tiny.
Yeah, Microsoft might be the one if you're dip buying today, down 7%. I mean, this one has been crushed pretty nicely, man, from 550 all-time high down to 450 right now. So you're giving up $100 on 550. This makes sense. I mean, we came right up to the 200 period moving average, got hit, and then right back down. And it's not like the sky's falling on this name. I mean, you're only back down to where we were mid last week right now and into another support area. So if you miss that sort of bump up there and you're wondering about, hey, what's good with Microsoft, the problem is the guide, right? And so the guide's not the strongest there for Microsoft. And as Sharif, Brendan, everybody mentioned, you know, it's up and away here for Meta as this huge growth name continues to outshine the rest of them here this morning, up 8%, but IBM is still there, right? IBM is up 10% today, and that's going to take out that 324 high. It's past all-time high. I think it was here, right here at 321, right? Let me just double check that on eSignal. But yeah, this was the last. A lot of these names, 324. Actually, we made 324.90 in November. According, yeah, right up to here. So, you know, many of these names are right back to these levels, you know, that we're talking about. Meta's very key level at 800. Yeah, I would love a coffee. That'd be great. But 325, let's see if we can break through there. IBM with a nice number. And you just mentioned, you know, even a name like Caterpillar, it's not going to move. Well, sometimes I guess it can move that 8, 9, 10% or something like that, but we'll take a couple points higher here on Caterpillar. They're looking to just extend their sort of win streak here as well. As look how smooth this is off this 50-period moving average. So that continues to win. Bitcoin's still doing jack all down here at 88,000. So we'll see if that can get going. And a new record high again. You mentioned silver, but gold 5,500 an ounce.
The move will stop on silver and gold when Bill Belichick gets in the Hall of Fame.
This is just, so hopefully never. Right down here, December, $400, beginning of the year, up to 504. So you're already up 25% or so this year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The problem with this stupid Hall of Fame crap is it's basically just a hall full of plaques voted anonymously by people. It's crazy. You should have
manufactured nonsense.
Yeah, you should have to put your name on your vote at least.
I love the MLB guys that after the fact tell you, a lot of guys know, the good ones, they'll tweet up, be like, here's who I voted for, and be like, and then they'll explain it.
It's such a privilege to be. I'm just saying, it's like such a privilege to be in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you don't want, if someone like that has that resume like Bill Belichick, maybe they should just get in on that alone, not people's opinions of who the person is.
You know why it matters to me? Like it's manufactured. A lot of it's manufactured stuff. But the reason why it
baseball is even more ridiculous, right?
Yeah, like sometimes you look at the age of the guys, and I'm sure nothing's going to happen. I'm not saying anything's going to happen to Bill Belichick, but you want to be able to enjoy that kind of a moment with your family. If the person deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, like
don't wait till they die, right?
Like it's utter nonsense. Like holding on. Like it's happened to a few baseball players where they get in with the Veterans Committee, and it's like, well, they've already passed, and your chance to triumph. It's a weird thing that you could be the greatest and it's obvious, but people have these like petty issues. One owner in Napoleon in particular. But we just had MasterCard. There's a lot of earnings to get to this morning. MasterCard as well, yet another one with a bit of a beat. It's up a couple of points here. I mean, my concern for them has more to do with the president taking aim at rates and how the stock is, all of them have been reacting to that. So I don't know how much I like that balance, particularly in MasterCard. Like, you always talk about the 3-day rule, but I think this is certainly one where they might have bigger things weighing on them right now, that's for sure. And someone in the chat was like, well, you didn't say Western Digital. Correct. Western Digital also reports tonight. We'll cover them all tonight.
SanDisk, Western Digital.
It's just when you're listing during earnings season, when you get like the heavier weeks, like we're not going to say every single name, trust me, that reports. We'll cover all the big ones to the best of our abilities, but you're right. Western Digital and SanDisk. I know I only mentioned one of them after the bell tonight, but a lot to get to before we get to that. And I know a certain someone who's matching his brethren today, because Joe and I'm telling you right now, Joe and Sharif are matching, is very excited about. See, got the maroon.
Got the maroon.
No, you're really excited about Tesla with this switch up.
Oh, Neil.
Yeah.
Neil, this is the move, Neil. This is the move. I mean, because if he had to create a new gigafactory, that would be years. We know that, right? That's going to be a couple of years at least. And then we also know that the Model S and the Model X are aging. They really haven't done a major redesign. So what a perfect move to actually switch up some of those factories, retrofit them to make Optimus. Now, I gotta say, this is I'm a little upset, all right, here because now Tesla doesn't have a high-end model anymore. The X and the S were the two high-end models. You can kind of get the Plaid. That's the one that could have over 1,000 horsepower. So I don't know if he's gonna fill that void, right? Maybe not in the near term, but he kind of loses his segment there. But Breno, he doesn't make too many of these. We always look at the amount of deliveries and the amount of produced.
Yeah.
And the S and the X are like low double digits, if that, compared to triple digits for the S and for the 3 and the Y.
Yeah, I mean the Y has been the model for years now. So yeah, I mean as we've been saying, I think it's more about the narrative switch, and it's more about understanding how long in the timeline it's going to take to get to this robotics narrative and AI narrative switch. So. I was just reading this note on Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia this morning. The trio discussing up to $60 billion in additional investment into OpenAI.
Oh,
and I mean, it's getting to a point where, at some point this has to be enough, and there has to be something coming from this, but clearly not there yet.
I don't know how I feel about this. I'm just telling you, I'm just speaking for myself, and I can only do that, but I'm not impressed with ChatGPT.
No.
Anymore.
No.
Like just this morning, I'll just give you an example this morning. Getting the morning note prepared, halfway through, Brendo, maybe I've summarized 5 or 6 articles, start screwing up. I've got to restart the window again to kind of realign it for the way that I like. And I haven't changed anything about the input. I haven't changed anything about how I'm doing anything, but it just starts changing the way that it wants to give you information halfway through. And then I also complained to you about something else. It won't give you any information that it considers to be proprietary, that it considers to be behind a paywall, even though it's not.
Yeah. So
for example, you're trying to find maybe something about the earnings calendar or earnings data. Widely available online. You see it, a quick Google search will show you that it's free. No, chat's like, no, I can't give you that. That's behind a paywall.
It's interesting.
So there is issues there.
It's interesting. I've tried many times comparing the higher tiered Gemini straight up versus ChatGPT, the higher tiered ChatGPT.
Way better.
I mean, I haven't seen any reason as to why one is $200 and the Pro Gemini is not. I mean, if you're involved in Google Office Space or Google Workspace, it's included in that, the Pro version of Gemini. So it's, I don't know. Anyway.
We have 3, right? With our
It's part of our Office package that we have here. Nvidia, guys, back to some recent levels here. Anyways, looking pretty positive here over the past couple of weeks. But I mean, they got to put their money somewhere, I guess, is maybe the narrative we can go with.
Well, for Nvidia, yeah. I mean, I thought coming in today, Nvidia would have been a little bit higher, but then we get that story here today again about the H200s being a little bit of a problem heading into China there and looking at those orders. I was just trying to find the story in our. Yeah, Jensen said that he's not yet approved imports of the H200 AI chip. The company has not received new H200 orders from Chinese customers. So that's we really got kicked out, just like what Where's my mouse again? Just like what Sharif was mentioning there, and sorry, Brennan was mentioning, you know, Nvidia, I thought, and I left yesterday's, and by the way, thank you everybody for joining us. We're going again today at 4 p.m., so make sure you do join us one more time. We had all the earnings live, all the prints as they were coming out. It was a great time and a lot of fun. We want to thank over 8,000 of you, I think was the peak at one point, maybe even higher. So thanks for everybody for staying and watching with us last night and watch tonight as we have the big reports again. But yeah, you saw, like, with the Capex spends apparently still alive and ready to go, you still see Nvidia with an upside move because, as Brendan said, man, they gotta buy these, you know, high-end chips. And Nvidia, Jensen came out and said Tesla had the strongest stack out there, and now we're going to see what's going on with that. We had an XAI boost of $2 billion into XAI. So what does that mean? You know, how is XAI going to keep up with OpenAI? Well, here's $2 billion more, and that might go directly into Nvidia. So, yeah, but then this H200 story, sort of kicking it down. I don't really want to trade this off of Chinese news because that just goes back and forth with the imports and the exports. So I think I'm going to be looking long for Nvidia today. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of levels, because generally I'm using like the 200 period, but we're underneath it. So there's really not too much support here for Nvidia right now. So I'll probably have a look. This is just a 1 minute chart, but yesterday's low of 190. We actually had that. That was yesterday's top trade idea. So there, you know, we could use that again today. So maybe Nvidia 190, something to talk about. And then honestly, AMD. This one just keeps on. It's just
check out 250 on the 15-minute.
Yeah, I have the 30-minute up here, but yeah, this is AMD's looking pretty good right into here, 250, 260. But this is what it is on a 30-minute chart. Just trying to tick up, that's 260. But again, like, it's pretty nice. We've got to break this trend back down. So there's that 250 level.
Been holding.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. That's a great short if that can break.
A loss of 250 on AMD breaks the trend and breaks 3-day support. But I'm not overly bearish on the space because of the Capex spending. It's like it's hard to look at that huge. Excuse me. Well, what let's say up to, like, the midpoint was 125, something like that for Meta, when we were expecting 110, and then Microsoft up their Capex too. Like, isn't that what we wanted? So it's hard to be bearish on the chips, but like that AMD 250 does kind of stand out there in the ether. On the Rail just sent us a super chat.
Oh, okay.
Here. Let me throw that one up.
I didn't see that. Where did that go?
Thoughts on Palantir 150 seem to be good entry. So we had this discussion about Palantir yesterday, and outside of here's the 200 period moving average. If you look at the daily chart, it's the support on the daily chart is at $150. There's your accumulation there. There's your wick bottom in November. The 200 period SMA on the daily is just something that it's been respecting. So yeah, I'm just zooming it out so you can see how far you have to go back before it even touches it. So you're getting a potential bounce off the 200 today, which to me, it's like kind of a simple thing. If it's able to hold above 160, you get a breakout trade. If it doesn't, then just ixnay on the ounce pay, and then that's not going to happen. But I was looking at the higher time frame on Palantir and thinking, when you get a pullback and suddenly once you're past 10%, you're past 20%, right? You go into the stock turns into bear territory. I like to look at the weekly. And the monthly, and I think that's where you get the confirmation. The weekly is where you get the confirmation of that 150. It's the 50 period. There's a triple bottom on the weekly here. The good news too is this probably not probably. It absolutely allows you to wait for them to report on Monday, right? Like I doubt that we're gonna lose this $10 and more on Palantir in the next 2 sessions. And on Monday, we'll get a chance to see if it's going to bounce here on earnings. So I do like the level, and it's because of the weekly. As for today, I think it's simple. Like, if it's able to break through the 160 level, it can be a nice little temporary long. But wait till after earnings on Palantir. Don't have to wait very long. Yet another name.
Yeah,
that you know will be all over on the show as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge report. I'm obviously a little bit nervous there about Palantir. We'll see where it winds up going, but more contracts always seem to be pumping in for them. Let's see what their guide looks like on Palantir. I think that's going to be a big one. All right, 820 right now. I mean, we talked about silver making new highs, gold making new highs as well, and then the Meta trade back to 725. I mean, 800 is going to be really key for that as well. Yeah, good. Yesterday we had a great guest. Maybe we may potentially have Luis Barbado today, so if he does come through, that would be fantastic. Talking some small caps, but there's always small cap runners, so we'll be able to.
Or dumpers, Joby.
Oh yeah, I saw Joby. Is Joby still a small cap name? I guess it still probably is.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It has such
I don't know their market cap.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of these names, like all of them, right? Like Astera, all these things. Oh, we have YSS today, by the way. So this will be.
They're 12 billion.
12 billion?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Yellowstone right here. Going to come through. This is another one of those space names. So we'll figure out what this IPO is starting to look like. It's in our system here, but that's the expected opening price right now, $34. I'll stay here and take it. I mean, it's 4.6 billion or 4.2 billion enterprise value. They're releasing like between 500 and 600 million worth of shares. So, you know, underwritten by Goldman. We'll see what winds up happening with YSS today. Just another IPO. What was it? EQBT? No, one of the last ones was EQ. I can't remember what it is anyways anymore. But we'll wait to see. There was another space one. Oh, Voyager. That was one. So there it is, Voyager Technologies. This was another recent IPO in the space, and it was not well received. So I just wanted to show, like, this is, I believe, you know, when this is a red candle, I believe we opened up at $70 and then closed that day at 60. So I'm not sure what the indicated open price was for Voyager, but I'm guessing it was down here, and then we just ramped up, and then there wasn't enough demand to hold the bid, you know. So that's another name to watch out in the space sector that sort of went like this. You got to be careful with
EQPTs.
EQPT, that was the one, and that was a good one.
Yeah, equipment share, that was
equipment share. Yeah. I knew that. I should have said I knew the name, but I didn't know the symbol there. But I knew it was EQ something. So equipment share. Yeah. So that's a great one.
That's a great one.
That's one of the more recent ones. But just Voyager, sort of in the same space there as today. But we'll see how it's looking, right? If there's, I think we like to look at, and we got to go to Joe in just one second.
We like to. I want to see increasing. Like,
I was going to stay right here.
Like, I don't want it to be 34 the whole time. I want that to 40, even higher.
So our exactly. Our imbalance locator will show on here once it's ready to go. Probably right at 9:30, they'll start putting in some bids and offers. And as long as it's, this will be a good number. If we got like 1.4 million paired or something like that, then that would be a good trade for me. But if we're only pairing off like 500,000 shares, 600,000 shares, then that means that there's a lack of interest there. Like they're bringing to market 14 million shares, and there's only an interest of 500,000 off that opening print. That's not great. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening, and Neil and I will sort of hold hands through that with you guys, and then Joe and Sharif will also be looking at it, and we'll try to give you some ideas on what we're thinking. But Trav, man, that's a good goal. His goal is to make $100,000 today. That's not bad. Yeah, you'll settle for $50 or $50,000. So yeah,
he didn't put the K after the 50, so I don't know. But we're definitely are ready, and we're not settling for Joe. We're heading over there to learn more about options.
Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. All right. Once again, a lot of activity in the world of derivatives. Mostly gold here, a lot of activity, guys, at that $500 level. We're north of that. And what I was going to get at here this morning is that the open interest isn't substantial, but some good volume starting to kick in. I think that we had the ability to climb some we did in the post market yesterday, obviously a 24-hour market there. At that $500 mark we mentioned, this was fluctuating crazy, and we were talking about it a little bit yesterday, just the appreciation of that specific contract and other contracts as well, too. So the spread is absolutely insane, and it will probably remain to be like that. It's not going to tighten up too much because this was documented a little bit just before the close. So keep that in mind, guys. That spread, if we are fortunate enough, you might get a couple points, but $80 just to get involved here. So that is a little bit of a tougher look. But as for your delta, guys, 423.423. So for every $1 change, you're going to see a $42 change. So it'll only take a couple of points in GLD in order for you to gain that back. But we're north of that zone right now. And as for your gamma exposure, relatively light, surprisingly so. And then your at the money IB sitting around 57.6%. Now, as one of the other hot commodities, guys, silver, $110 mark. I mean, we're pushing 107, 108 right now, but volume with 33,100 contracts there and open interest sitting around 11,500 at that $100.10 strike price. Once again, the bid and the ask is relatively tight. It's only $5 there, so we're not going to complain too much about that. And your delta, 0.35, so not too bad, and very, very little gamma exposure. But one thing that you want to keep an eye out on, and we were talking about a lot about this yesterday, is your at-the-money IV sitting around 127%. So you're going to be paying a little bit of an extended premium on this one. Let's see if we can continue to climb here today in these commodities. Now, as for some of the puts, yes, Starbucks, guys, Starbucks heading lower, putting up almost a 10% move in the pre-market and off that earnings report, giving the majority of that back. So right at that $90 strike price, we have volume around 4,540 with open interest 5,930. Now, as for your bid and ask, you're seeing a little bit of a spread here, guys. Nothing substantial. Your delta is always going to be negative. Keep that in mind. And gamma exposure, once again, relatively tight, but your at-the-money IV sitting around 79.9%. That is going to be heightened due to the increase in volatility in the pre-market. But things did start to cool down a little bit. Keep an eye out for a potential base on Starbucks at that $90 mark. Now, as for the Nasdaq, guys, a little bit of a slide before the earnings reports. But we're not going to complain too much. We're going to see if this is going to be the bottom. I mean, we're pushing a little bit higher here. But as for the Q630 strike price, volume 36,100 there, and then open interest, relatively cool around 11,000. But your bid and ask, not bad whatsoever. You're looking at $7, not going to complain. And then your delta 0.38, gamma exposure, once again, relatively cool. And your at-the-money IV, I mean, if we talk about this and get a little bit more in depth in it, we can see that around 10, 14% or so. So you're starting to see somewhat of an increase, but that's also due to the earnings report and the mega cap names reporting. We will be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades, guys.
Yes, thank you, Joe. And Starbucks was incredibly.
Yeah,
it's a really disappointing daily chart. Like, there's nothing else you can say about this because it felt for all the world like this was going to be the chance, that $100 level on Starbucks, and all it did is put in one of the nastier reverse candles that you will see. Like you're only going to see kind of like that on earnings. Unfortunately, that $90, like based on just the crazy reversal here from top to bottom, I think the $90 actually would make some sense. But I mean, until it gets there, it hasn't really completely lost a bit. Like there's some support potentially at 95. I'm hesitating to even be remotely bullish on it when you get this kind of a rejection. Yeah, that's a turnaround candle. You don't need to be a charter market technician to have seen it. They had great same-store sales. The report actually looked good. Brian Nichols, by all accounts, doing a solid job over there, but it didn't seem to matter for the entire day. They sold. So until this one settles down, I hate to say it's in the penalty box, but it's skating over to it. Let's put it that way. Like that reversal candle looks as bad as the Leafs are playing.
Yeah, the Leafs go 8-0-2 and then 1-4 at home. So I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, no, I think I like that Starbucks. I like the pullback. I mean, that's when, Joe's the one talking about, the pricing of these options and what that looks like. But I think, when you get a move like that on Starbucks, which went top to bottom yesterday, they had 10%. It was up 10%, then give it all back down to that $95 mark. We'll see if it can hit 100 again. But that's why options are so expensive, especially around earnings days, right? We had Spot Gamma on yesterday. He was talking all about, implied volatility and how expensive it is trading options, around earnings. That's why sometimes it's a good idea. Like, for example, I know Sharif's been talking about Meta for a while. So if you thought that Meta had a chance to, put this kind of a number up, then weeks before, and sure, it dipped down. I don't know. To get the very bottom is lucky, but weeks before is when you can sort of edge into potentially some of those options where they get a little bit less expensive. Obviously, there's going to be time involved in that as well, and there's a price to pay for time. But approaching day before, day after, it just, the pricing gets a little out of whack. So you got to sort of make your play and hope that you get these kind of moves. And we always talk about it, actually, the implied moves. You know, so the 4, 5, 6% move. So today you would be printing both on Meta and on Microsoft options, but you would not be on Tesla, because Tesla underneath that 4 or 5% move that was expected, right? And so that's it. Options, obviously a great way to trade this market, especially heading into and around earnings. Just be careful of how expensive they are. All right, 8:30 there. Let's go back over to the desk, see what they're talking about.
We have some data coming in.
Yeah, we have some data at 8:30.
Yeah, a couple things to note. Nothing major that's going to, or potentially going to move the market. Initial jobless claims, 209, just coming through here at 8:30. 209 versus 205, so a bit of an uptick there. 210 was the prior number, so lower than the prior, but a bit of an uptick versus the expected. Balance of trade for November, 56.8 billion, comes in downside versus prior 29.4 billion. Exports for November just coming through as well, 292.1 billion. Also a downtick, 348.9 billion on the import side of things. Again, this is all for November. 1.82 million on the continuing claims. Consensus there, 1.86. So good to see. That's probably 3 weeks in a row, I want to say, of that number specifically trending in the right direction to the downside. We're also getting there. It is non-farm productivity quarter over quarter, 4.9%, exactly in line with expectations. Coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, factory orders and then wholesale inventories as well. Shouldn't be too much of a worry for this market today.
Yeah, Jerome Powell commenting on the state of the job market yesterday, Brandon, saying basically no new hires, but you're not seeing mass layoffs, so it's kind of like in an equilibrium mode. Another reason why maybe interest rates could come down later in the year to kind of stimulate possible hiring, especially from some larger companies, but kind of in different numbers here for me anyway.
Yeah, I checked early this morning, and it was still pointing towards 2 cuts before the end of the year. When that will actually come through remains to be seen, but the Fed funds tool, that is. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I mean, the narrative yesterday was, as you were saying, you know, more on the bullish side than anything that we've heard from them for quite some time. So is that just his best wishes maybe on the way out the door kind of thing?
And what I really liked, and I was telling you off camera as well, they're monitoring the different sectors, the different categories that were affected by the tariffs. And they're saying we have enough data now. We're not forecasting what the tariff rise could be because we've got basically data since April onwards. And they expect that the effects of these increases, I personally see them, inflation increases because of tariffs to come to a head by the middle half of this year. So I think, I don't know, I'm just speaking for myself. Did you get the Google phone again?
I did.
What's going on? You dropped the iPhone?
I did.
Wow, that's a move, huh? Okay, you caught me off guard there, a little attention deficit disorder, but I noticed
You're
that
all over
pretty
the place,
quick. Huh? No, but what he was trying to say was, I think, you know, if we've really seen the worst of the tariff inflation, I think that this would have been a successful endeavor because we haven't really seen that reflected in numbers, especially as you compare it to the GDP growth, the top line number that we're getting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to, you know, anticipate that that's going to be the case, I think, going forward for you know, the foreseeable future here. I was just reading an interesting note here. This number we just came out with, the balance of trade number specifically, not the import exports, but again, for November, negative 56.8 billion. That is the widest month over month U.S. trade balance since 1992.
Interesting.
Negative, obviously. So the widest number we've seen since 1992 on that print. So again, the market not really reacting to that. Just keeping an eye on this XPON. A few people talking about that one too, guys.
XPON.
Okay.
Well, it's
always some small cappers here.
Well, it's like it's above $1, but like Gapper that made its high and is underneath the volume weighted average price. The other, we were talking about that Joby, and I neglected to mention. We mentioned Joby, and we're like, oh, there's movers around here. They're down 15%. There was an offering, so a little dilution. Has this losing the 200? Has this losing support? They didn't put this on the note, but I'm actually going to. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to pay for locates either. If this is able to pop back into this prior support, right around 12. This could be a pop and fade idea on Joby. But when talking about inflation, with all these input costs going up, copper just making power moves. Even in the chat, people were talking about, it's up again today. Right? And at the highs, literally as we speak, and gold and silver. So you know that's the kind of thing that trickles down as well. So one of the biggest things, or if not, well, maybe even the only significant thing that Powell said, which I think you could sink your teeth into, or that the Fed said in general, was they took away the line that said they're more concerned about the labor market than inflation. It's not to say that their primary concern was inflation, but they had a focus on the labor market relative to inflation, and they took that line away, meaning they're on par. And that's exactly where everyone gets this whole "they're going to pause for a while" thing, because if you're saying that, it's implicitly saying that there have some rising concern in inflation, in my opinion. I think that removal of the statement had more to do with these inflation concerns that they have relative to the job market, but we'll see. That's why you're not getting much of a move. But yeah, Joby, another one that's going to be on the move here today, with the offering down 15%. Yeah, there's always small cappers abound, and I'm not. Look, first of all, I'm not saying Carvana is a small capper. But sometimes you don't have to look at some kind of $1 stock to get insane movement. Like Carvana's up 6% today, and it feels like a nothing burger. The short report yesterday on this one was absolutely wild in terms of what the price action did. And it's almost back to the 440 level. Like it was falling, and then the volume picked up right here at 440. This has a chance to break above when that story was dropping, which is wild to me. Like if you put a list of things that I did not expect to see this morning, it was Carvana getting back to here. That's a little shocking to me.
Yeah, no, that was an interesting report there yesterday on Carvana, dropping them, and then a nice battle back to that 375 or so, I think, or was it? Yeah, 375. Yeah, good little level there. All right, so we just talked about earnings. I mean, people on the chat are all about, like, for some reason, people are just obsessed with Palantir here, but they will be reporting. Obviously, we talked about that on Monday evening, so wait out for Palantir. This one, for me, I think it's, and I know Neil already covered this a little bit, but I just want to do it again. I think this is a good spot for earnings. Like, sometimes you don't want to be all the way up here because then you're kind of like priced to perfection again. This was the run up into last earnings, so it's going to be a little different of a situation. Like last earnings, we ran up. Sure, we made all-time highs there in the after hours. I remember sitting here talking about that as that was happening. And then the very next day, it kind of just sold off, and it continued to sell off for about 2 weeks before it found a base at the exact level we're at today, made the move basically back to 200 flat, almost exactly, and now it's down another 20% or so from that level, right? So that's now, if Palantir just meets expectations and can have a decent guide, which I would think that Alex Karp knows what to say here, this could, have real explosive move back to the upside on PLTR. So, I know Tesla's one of the original like meme kind of cult stocks. Palantir has that in it as well. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening with PLTR. This is not one where I think you want to buy actual shares maybe heading into the print. This is one that I think could be real explosive, where you'll probably get some, and maybe Joe can talk about this during his show there or on Monday, because it's going to report Monday night. You should be able to get a nice move higher in Palantir, or just absolutely loses and it's the other way. But what a different setup heading into earnings. Last time ramped up, boom, print comes, good quarter, but not good enough, gets hit. Here we go to the downside, been taken out, PE still obviously huge, but maybe it's set up for a move back higher. And I own Palantir shares, but we've been getting lighter on this name, so I'm fine with it. Obviously, I'd like to see it move higher. I own I've got IBM, Microsoft, Meta, Palantir, like you name it. The only one is Caterpillar I see on your screen. I was actually just going to go over that and mention that was one name that had a report that I don't own. So I really like Caterpillar, though. It's a freaking great stock, man, off that 50-period moving average. Caterpillar is a monster.
Yeah, it's the definition of not moving right now for Caterpillar on their beat. There's another one, the Southwest. If we're talking about earnings, before we go back, and we're going to throw back over to Sharif and Brendan, but Southwest making some moves here. Flying up 6%, Yeah. Now, there's an outside chance, I don't know, 1 chance in 3, I'm making up the odds, that you get a 52-week high break on Southwest up here at 45. That's worth watching. And even like the 44 level could be interesting. It's not the only airline that's made some power moves. And we know these can be really tradable. And it's in a bull flag. Like you can see, look at the consolidation, trend up, consolidation, drop earnings, and then maybe we get this breakout through that 45. So there's just so much to watch, and we'll try to cover pretty much everything that we can today. But let's fire it on back up to the new Pixel 10 owner, Brendan and Sharif.
I don't know why this is such a breaking news event today.
And the chat's commenting on it too. Yeah. So no, genuinely though, what do you think about the new Pixel? Because I remember you had the previous model, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's so far so good. I mean, it's been literally 10 hours. So
okay. So
it was literally last night. So give me a day, and I'll have a full review for you. But I think we have Luis joining us this morning from Barcelona. He's going to give us his rundown once again on some small caps this morning. Good to see you, Luis. First off, busy week once again for small cap world. We've had, I mean, take your pick. You must be a happy guy over the past couple of days here with the variety, anyways.
Yeah, it's been quite active week. As usually, we have one runner going crazy. In this case, was VNAI. This stock was moving high and with a lot of volume, breaking highs, and liquidity started to disappear. It was a trap liquidity on this stock. And always after we have one crazy runner stock, we have this running cycle where every day we see 400%, 200% in some names.
And again, we had this conversation last week, but let's focus once again on things that are maybe coming back to earth a little bit, if it's not necessarily a first day type of a move, but maybe a second day type of a move. Let's see the list here this morning. What's catching your eye so far?
Well, first of all, I would like to take a look on this stock because it's a particular pattern that we trade a lot. It's SER, this stock with 5 million float. And look at this because this is a chart that we usually trade. I'm going to show you here. So you see this stock has moved up a lot. Okay, gapping up, breaking VWAP, breaking pre-market highs. So the first thing we have to do is look back, look to the left, as I used to say, and check if we have some resistance. And as you can see in the chart, we have a $5 resistance here from previous days, weeks, right? You can see there, it's loading there. You see, we have a resistance here. So we are gonna short this stock against this daily resistance that we have. And if you miss that trade because it's too risky, because you're shorting front side against this resistance, you just wait until it goes lower highs, it loses VWAP, and you go short here. Against this VWAP is another lower highs, and you have the VWAP at resistance, you go short here, and look, it's already almost $1 down. So that was an awesome trade in one pattern that we usually trade. We let it go up until the resistance, daily resistance. We let it go down, and we only go short when it go against VWAP. We call it VWAP rejection.
We had a couple of questions, Luis, last time. We were discussing the aspect of locates and the cost surrounding locates, and a few people were mentioning after the fact that they didn't really understand the concept of, first of all, maybe just run through what is a locate, first off, and how that actually applies in this case, and why necessarily, if that cost of borrow is higher, it kind of negates the ability to make this a profitable idea.
Well, locate, as we talked about, is the ability to go short in stocks that usually your broker doesn't have to borrow, right? So you have to pay extra cost in order to go short on this stock. Usually we're talking about low float stocks with a high short float. So most of the stocks are already borrowed, or there is so low float that the broker doesn't have. So you pay locates in order to be able to go short on these stocks. When you trade small caps for the last 4 or 5 years, it's been quite common that we are paying locates in this stock. Why deny the trade? Because if the borrow fee, if the locate is so high that the movement is not going to be profitable enough, that's a problem. Let's see this ticker, for example, SER. let's say you're paying $1 per 100 shares. That's okay, because with 1 cent, you already make the profit. But what if they ask you $50 per 100 shares? That means that you will have to make 50 cents move in order to pay the locate. So that would be crazy expensive, of course.
Definitely, and great explanation. We're already well into the money here, if that was the case on something like SER. So, I mean, a ton of volume on that one. I see a few other ones moving around here. XPON, another one. You looking at that today?
No, not looking at that one. Let me check, just in case I see something interesting. XPON. Let me check here as well. First of all, as I said, look to the backside if you have in the future some nice days resistance. We had one resistance, it's a little bit far, 190, so we're gonna wait in this stock. Was very good to trade last night after the market closed, to go short there, maybe short there against this pre-market overnight highs, but right now it's already pretty much dead. We will look, if we short this one, we will wait until it pops and fight the VWAP 115, 120 to go short, but very unlikely. Another stock we have been checking is, let me remember, is GCTK, this one. Look at this chart. It looks quite crazy, but it's some pattern that it's repeating a lot in the small caps. It's what we call pump and dump, right? The stock goes up like crazy, non-stop from $3.40 to $6. It is very tricky, I know, to go short front side here. So if you are not crazy, brave, or indisciplined or whatever enough to go short on the front side because you see some daily resistance from other days, you just wait and see. When it goes down, it goes against the VWAP, you go short there. But in order to do that, you have to look to the left. Look the chart, the historic chart. And does that pattern repeats a lot? At least you check the pattern, it's unbelievable. I think was the CTK, right? Hold on, yes. Look at the past and what happened. A few days ago, the stock moved from 4 to 7 and all the way down on the same movement few minutes later, 10, 15 minutes. We go to another day from 6 to 9 almost and all the way down. So it's a pattern that this stock particularly repeats a lot. So if you see the stock moving up very sharp, wait until some confirmation like it did here, right? It loses VWAP, it recovered VWAP, you go short there with a tight stop in pre-market highs, and just end of day. It's already almost negative, the stock, after going up almost 100%.
I want to throw one concept at you here, and a couple of people mentioning not only this specific stock this morning, but I've seen it over the past couple of days. TRX, this is a gold company. So definitely on the small cap scale of things as far as the price is concerned, but we have this obviously massively positive catalyst behind a company like TRX Gold or a small junior miner for that matter. Take your pick, there's plenty of them. When you have such a positive catalyst behind a move, potentially in a stock like this, is it hands off or are you waiting for a solid sign that says this thing's done?
No, it's not a hands off, of course. It's about sympathy plays. You pick up the stock that it looks better for your setups. It did one very nice trade yesterday, I think, buying these pullbacks. We don't go always short. Sometimes we go long as well. Also, the statistics in small caps are telling you that going short is more statistically positive, but also we go long. When do we go long? When the cycle is a runner cycle. Do we have this? Yes, we have it from a few days. We are in a runner cycle, so longs are more comfortable jumping in the trade, first. Second, we have a very active sector, like in this case, the gold. So you have two ticks, two checks to go long. Are we trading above VWAP? Yes. Are we trading above pre-market highs? Yes. So you have all to go long on the dips, on the pullback, like here again, all the day yesterday. And also look for sympathy plays. Maybe it's not the best stock on gold. We have NAMM, which is the one which is moving more. Okay, it's moving from $1 or 0 point something to $9, almost $7.50. Sorry. So if this stock start to run, it's gonna push the other ones like TERS and other small caps related to gold.
Luis, always great insight. A very busy week for small caps, very busy week on your desk, especially. Great to have you as always. We'll speak again soon.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
All right, so, Joe. All right, yeah, Joe was muted there. So I was just going to say, we'll go back to Joe in a second. You know, the big thing about what Luis is saying there is that checklist, in my opinion. Yes. You know, like, is it above VWAP? Is it in the right sector? What does the volume look like? You know, how is it profiling? Because you can't just choose any. Well, it's the same for all stocks. I mean, sure, you
stock long in an uptrend.
You can apply it to all the names. You know, like, for example, if you're avoiding earnings plays, does it have earnings? Like, that would be the first X, you know? Or if you're looking at it, then that's, so I think you can apply it everywhere, but I think it is most important, obviously, to pick small cap runners, because those are the names that you won't really know anything about, and they'll just show up out of the blue. Exactly. So if you have definite boxes that you can check, I think that's it, right?
And they can be good, because you have to remember, a lot of the appeal of trading them is that you don't, like, they're not covered by a bajillion analysts and have a bunch of huge money in them. Right. A lot of times, like, that's the appeal. But they all, like everything else, you got to categorize them. Some of them are habitual line steppers. I love that other that chart you showed where it's just pump and dump every single time. And another one, anything, if it's a gold miner right now, well, then playing it to the long side has been working out. I'm going to guess it's got to be pretty busy over there for Joe with the upgrades and downgrades. When you have this many earnings, weeding it down can be a little bit difficult because lots of analyst movement. Joe, what do we have?
All right, guys, let's get right into things here. At the top of the list, yes, we have Microsoft to start things off. BMO Capital choosing violence this morning, guys, with a $625 price target, lowering it to $575. You're down approximately 7% here. And once again, Datadog on here, BMO Capital across the board here, guys, $215, lowering it to $170. You're down almost 5%. Now, First Solar as well, too, getting the downgrade, guys, outperform to a market perform. And ServiceNow getting that price target lowered from $175 to $170. That is going to be some of your downgrades. Now, as for some of the upgrades, guys, we have Lam Research getting the upgrade, going from a hold to a buy, and a price target of $890 by Summit Insights. Now, Shreve, as soon as I had this up here, he's like, man, Joe, that better be on the upgrade side. And correct, it is going from an equal weight to an overweight here, guys, by Barclays. You're up 3.75% this morning. And then a substantial move in Meta. We're getting a buy rating, guys, but also a price target increase. Sorry, that's been switched up. We're going $808 to $890, all right, on META, and then GE Vernova as well, too, guys, getting that price target increase to from $680 to $780. This was a little bit of an error, but that's okay. That is going to be $890 as a price target set by Mones, guys.
All right, PDSB Biotechnology under the Nasdaq. PDSB is the symbol. They are transforming how immune systems target and fights cancer with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the United States in just a few years. Please, if interested, go check them out at pdsbiotech.com. We want to thank them for their continued sponsorship. And they had a couple nice moves over the last couple of days as well. So yeah, go check them out and you know, support the cause and do your due diligence, find out about PDSB Biotech. So yeah, thanks, Joe, for all of that. And you're mentioning Lam Research was another one that just keeps going higher. It reminds me of that Caterpillar, and everything just keeps on trekking higher and higher. And there's more money to be made than just mega cap names. I mean, I feel like we sit here in our portfolios, and all I have is like all these Mag 7 names and a few other little fun ones. But it's these names that continue to climb. Right?
You look at where, if you look at in tech, the last few months has not been. It's not been about Apple. Google's been pretty good. It hasn't been about those Mag 7. It hasn't been about the Qs. It's been about the memory chip names. It's been about ASML. It's been about LRCX, about Lam, Applied Materials. I mean, Intel. Like, there's like the moves that are happening in some of these names. I actually thought, based on the quarter, the Lamb would be up more. But then, you zoom out, like, what are we even talking about? This in September, this thing was $100, and it just tagged 250. So it probably runs so far going into the earnings. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get a double-digit day out of it for Lamb, unfortunately. But yeah, that ServiceNow is not looking very. That wasn't looking very good. But it wasn't that one that caught my attention on the downgrade side of it. First Solar is like I didn't realize this had cleanly broken trend, consolidated and rejecting that lower high at 250, and now one's threatening breaking down. This one feels like a short to the 200 period moving average. FSLR breaking down. I mean, such a clean trend break too, and then it gave you the consolidation. I guess you call that like a bear flag after this great hold of the 50 period. So yeah, there's some structure to the downside as much as Lamb and some other names look good. Yikes! I had no idea this one was doing so bad. But one of the better ones in the space, I guess.
What was the one? Brian Shannon. Oh, he liked Sunrun.
Probably
it was.
Sunrun, right?
Yeah. So let's just check out what Sunrun did over the last couple of days. I mean, Brian was just here 2 days ago. So yeah, it looks like a continuation there. He was here. $20 up to 21. Yeah, I don't know if he's in it yet. I think he was talking about building up steam to break this. So, yeah, Sunrun. There we go. Brian Shannon gave us this one there. One of the stronger names in the space. Sunrun. Okay, nice move higher there. I have the U.S. dollar here as well. I look at a 1 minute chart all the time on this thing. But if we can go, I don't even know where the minutes thing is gone here, but this is still a 1 minute chart. Oh, here it is down here. You can go look to a 1 day chart and just get to see what's exactly happening here with the dollar. Nice move down there this is a 1 day. I need a different day here for that. But there's the move yesterday off of earnings, off of the Fed. So we'll have to see if we can get some movements here in the US dollar today, kind of bouncing a little higher there. Nothing to do with earnings, but we'll watch this with gold and with silver and everything. I'm going to figure out this chart. So let's get back over to Brendan and Sharif, and we're going to start going through the rundown soon.
All right, we were just talking about copper here. I mean, there's a couple of different ways that you can have a look at this, but what a move this morning. This is just an ETF, COPX. I mean, futures are up better part of 10% here this morning for copper. The COPX pushing $100 for the first time right now after a 3-day consolidation here. But I mean, if you zoom out a little bit, just going back to the beginning of the year, like $72 up to 100 here for the COPX.
And like at the same time, when the demand for copper is shooting through the roof, as we're talking off camera about, data centers and all the huge build out that's happening right now, apparently it's facing copper, that is, structural supply crisis as major discoveries declined over the past decade. I'm talking about from 2015 to 2025. Miners favored existing mine expansion. So there wasn't that much new supply coming online at the same time when demand was going through the roof. So much like all these other critical minerals or metals like gold and silver, this is really running here quite aggressively.
As we're sitting here talking about other ways outside of tech to make money in this market, wow, what a move for copper here. Note just coming across on Ford from Piper Sandler, looking pretty positive. And Piper Sandler analysts were busy this morning. I saw 10 at least, mostly based on the earnings that came out last night, obviously. But we'll get into that coming up. We'll get into what to expect otherwise this morning with the rest of the market. Let's check out the futures though here.
We literally closed at the exact same price on the SPY that we did the day prior, 695.5, the exact same print. And much like yesterday morning, we're ahead of it right now, but we're still looking at yesterday's high as that area of resistance. So we're talking about that high 698, well, the wick there goes to 698 on the dot, the closing print 698 on the dot. The wick goes to about 699. So that's going to be our first level of resistance, that 698, 699 area. If we continue to sell off, we found a very, very clear area of support, Brendo, at 692.5 yesterday.
All right, lots to understand this morning. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that. Link is below. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page for the watch list. All you need is an email address, and then you get that delivered right to your inbox every single day. A ton on it today, including all 3 mega cap tech names that we got last night. Let's get rid of them right off the top. Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla all together here. Microsoft, the standout here to the downside. On the weak side, we're turning around a little bit right now. Again, testing that 450, comes right back down through it, below right now. The Capex spend number going to be a theme here today.
It is, yeah. Record for Microsoft, as we talked about on the top, but it was really the Azure concern. I mean, it's still grown at 39% year over year on the quarter. That's nothing to sneeze at. But the market was, they had high expectations. So the reason it's down is because they printed 40% year over year growth last year on the quarter. And, you know, that's below some buy side expectations. Now, they are guiding quite healthy here. They're saying forward guidance for Azure should come in at about 37 to 38%. That's roughly in line with what consensus was. With respect to guidance, Brendel, and margin pressure, they're guiding Q3 revenue of about 80.65 to 81.75, and implied operating margins are supposed to come in at 45.1, but that is also getting compressed as a result of the Capex. And that Capex is expected to increase substantially. They're saying capital expenditures and finance leases surge about 37.5 billion just in the quarter, not the year, the quarter. And that was up 66% year over year. Still less than the 100% that we saw on Meta for 2026.
When will the appetite for the spending run out is the question. Here's Tesla, meanwhile, leaking back to the downside a little bit. Unfortunate story with Waymo under investigation. Google's autonomous driving division under investigation after a collision. Tesla coming down, not necessarily on that per se, but I mean, overall, I think a decent report here for Tesla.
I really like the report on Tesla. Obviously, it's not great that the deliveries are dropping, but that's something we already knew it was coming. So that's not a surprise for us. What was completely a surprise for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people, was the cancellation of the Model S and Model X, the two higher end models, but those are the two oldest models as well. And what better product, Brendo, than to replace them with an Optimus, supposed to scale by the end of the year? I can't wait to see these things.
He alluded to this. He didn't come out and actually say that, but he alluded to this going back to that investor day at the end of last year. Like, they didn't announce anything at that point as far as the production side, but everyone kind of left that saying, okay, well, if they're going to be at 1 million by 2027, how the hell are they going to do that? Now we know. So Tesla guys, I mean, kind of interesting chart here so far today, but definitely coming in pretty hard.
It feels like this, like we're in a world where Tesla right now is the, okay, let's not look at the actual numbers and let's focus on the future, and let's focus on Optimus, and let's focus on Robotaxi. And essentially, you got a really big decision that got made with regards to the Model S and the Model X. To push forward in the future, to get rid of those, and let's get Optimus production out there. So I think that's the reason why you're able to be, like, we're able to be up 1%, declining revenue for the first time. It's not like that's not going to be good. This slide in the pre-market that it's on, like, it's one thing if we get the gap up and you're holding these earnings levels, because it was right at the precipice of, you know, kind of holding a key 445, and then you started thinking about like a bull flag in there and then pressing into the 450. There has been nothing but sell in Tesla this morning. Like, there has not been a bounce. Prior day high is already getting tested and losing that. Maybe the 36 or the 32 will provide you with some support. But I'm going to be hands off on Tesla, because it was really pulling back into prior highs where push comes to shove. And especially on an earnings name, I think the 15-minute wait is going to be in place for me on Tesla, because that's kind of an over-under type of level, that 438, and I want to see what we do at the open there. With regard to Microsoft, we mentioned this with Microsoft earlier, 45% of the backlog for Azure is OpenAI. And it seems like if you're considered to be too dependent on OpenAI, you're getting punished. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just the Azure growth came moving forward, 37 to 38% moving forward, right? And they put up 40% last quarter. So it's just like, that's part of it, right? I mean, you can't have that. And we're going to talk about Meta. Oh, we're talking about Meta. We're talking about them all right now. Oh. You know, Meta had the expansion of the Capex, of course, but then showed some growth numbers. Microsoft kind of showing the opposite. They're spending all the money, but yet they're going downside in their Azure growth. So that's not going to be obviously a great call there for Microsoft. But I think, like, again, like, who cares what I think, honestly? But at the end of the day, it's right into these levels again, where if you are sort of a Mag 7 buyer. I think Microsoft right here, it performed real well the last time it got down here. It hit those, hit the skid a little bit, hitting the 200 period moving average and not putting up a great quarter. So yeah, Microsoft downside. I don't have any trade ideas for this one today because I actually think it's going to go higher right there. But then, you know, the trade that I wrote down on the sticky note, which is out today, is just 432. Like, let's just see if this holds. Down here on Tesla. Obviously, yesterday we had a dip down, you know, as earnings were coming through and there was an imbalance and whatnot. The futures kind of went down. So I'm not even considering that kind of stuff. I'm looking down here at 432 for Tesla. I actually like the idea of throwing away the Model X and Model X and S there. I don't see too many of them. I see more X's, I feel like, than S. And it's funny because I sent a message to Marissa last week. I think I said it on the air. When are we going to get our Model X? You know, and then now I guess we have to get a used one at some point. So 438, but she still wants the Rivian, so it doesn't matter. But there's a nice downside move, anyways, in Tesla. Looking to see if there's some support down there. I like the idea of the move. We've not looked at Tesla as a sort of a car company for at least a couple quarters now. Those deliveries keep coming through. We know the story in China and Europe and here in the United States and Canada as well. Still declining sales. So it makes sense, get rid of the weak and hopefully put in the strong. And, you know, if Optimuses are going to be in 25 to 50% of households, whatever, was that the Optimus or full self-drive? I can't remember what he said about that. But anyways, aggressive targets for 2026. And we already know he doesn't have to get held to those targets. Nah. The fact is that they're going to start rolling him out. And yeah, the margins should be probably quite huge on those robots. So
Brennan will be the first one around here to get an Optimus.
Yeah.
I'd bet money on that for sure.
Yeah, I don't think any of us will get one anytime soon. But
no, not soon. I mean, we're waiting at least a couple of years for that for sure. But I want to shout out everybody because if you're a trader and you're trading U.S. stocks, options, or futures, then you know you've been blindsided at some point. A stock you're trading has a big move, and you're sitting there wondering why. It's not always your fault. A lot of times, large funds build up huge positions in the options market before the name you're trading even reacts. So to gain an edge in today's market, Spot Gamma's daily Flow Patrol report reveals where big money is positioned. You can identify stocks building momentum ahead of the price moves. To get 2 free weeks of Spot Gamma's Flow Patrol, you can scan the QR code on screen and go behind the curtain to see what the professionals see. Shout out to Spot Gamma and check them out. I mean, we have Joe on and we had a great job with Brent yesterday. And I'm willing to bet there's going to be some options activity tonight as we get more earnings, including a certain company that makes and sells a lot of phones.
Yeah, not doing a heck of a lot here so far this morning. Apple gapping a little bit higher with the overall market. Going to be very, very closely watched, I feel, coming up tonight. I mean, we got this update as far as Siri is concerned. Now they're saying maybe a month we'll have the first version of Siri with Gemini baked in.
That's going to be good because we know Google's voice-activated software is just exponentially better than Apple's. So I'm really looking forward to that, Breno. Let's talk about what analysts are expecting for the earnings report today. We're looking for EPS to come in at $2.66, which would be up from the $2.40 they posted last year on revenue of $118.07 billion. That would only be a slight increase, though, guys, from that print we got last year. $117.5 billion, or a little bit less than a half, is what we got. iPhone sales, though, will remain the key swing factor, as well as China demand, which will certainly be under scrutiny. We got reports earlier in the year that China demand had picked up quite aggressively on the back of the iPhone 17. Analysts expect, though, iPhone revenue to be roughly flat to slightly down. And that doesn't jive well with me because we've seen this upgrade cycle be a lot stronger than the 16s, so I'm not sure really how they're reaching that point. Services, their largest margin business, as we know, expected to grow in the high single digits. We're also looking for gross margins to remain near highs. And Apple has been kind of restrained, as we talked about, with their AI messaging. Leaks come in every now and again as to what we're going to get. The market's going to be looking for incremental AI disclosure and clarity on timelines.
No pressure, Apple. Yeah. No pressure at all. If you zoom out a little bit, guys, a bit of a channel going back a couple of weeks here around this 255 up to 260, 262 area, kind of chopping around just below that, heading into a very key report here.
Yeah, and I think, you know, along the lines of what you're seeing with Microsoft, don't freak out if Apple has a good report and it ends up down. You know, you saw this, we've seen this before, like Amazon was out of favor for a little bit and that's running again. And Last year, Alphabet at one point was out of favor, and then it went absolutely ham, and Meta was sort of left for dead, and then it went absolutely ham. I mean, you've already pulled back pretty heavily going into the report, bouncing already. I think it would have been cooler if we'd been bouncing off the 200 period going into this report. I feel like they would be able to do no wrong. But the fact that we already caught the bounce off 250, for today, unless there is a move down that takes you into the 250 on an earnings day, I don't know that I want to touch it. But certainly, I think they priced themselves a little bit better going into this earnings report. But we just saw what seemed like not a horrible deal with Microsoft get punched a little bit. And if Apple did the same, I think you're going to get a buying opportunity. Like, I almost think Microsoft, like, this is going to be give it a day or two, and you're talking about DCAing into it. And if Apple loses 250, I think that would be a similar story after the bell. But I'll stay hands off. There's plenty moving around. Like, I mean, come on. You see what's going on with gold and silver. You got the IPO today. No questions asked. There's going to be movement. Bitcoin lost 80. I mean, Bitcoin has been trash. Back at 88,000.
That's Bitcoin. I don't understand Bitcoin.
Like that one, when everything was rallying in the afternoon, it just did not participate in the move at all. So there's lots that you can sink your teeth into that you don't have to worry about. Well, everyone cares about the report tonight, so I'm going to stay away from Apple.
Apple has an interesting story behind it too, because Tim Cook might be leaving at some point. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to wait to see if there's a succession plan there and what that looks like for the stock. That might give a little shakeup to it if they don't like who's planning to come through or what is going on with Tim Cook. But look, man, massive free cash flow. Apple is just a machine. They have a huge buyback, one of the best in the business. We'll see if that continues here today. But yeah, I think it's actually primed for a great report. I mean, bouncing basically off. I mean, Neil just said the 250 mark, but we tried to get into the 200 period. It's been hit to the downside. You basically just have one up day in the last, who knows, in the last 30 days, like one real dramatic day, and that was 4 or 5 days ago. Other than that, it's been really beat up here. So I think it's primed to hit this out of the park. So let's wait to see what winds up happening with Apple. I still, I like their install base. It's going higher, not lower. And yeah, clear out for Google, clear out for Gemini coming through on Siri. I was just saying the big update is supposed to come in February, where Siri gets the whole relaunch and the whole OS is supposed to be revamped a little bit there. So we'll find out what that means for Apple and if that's on track and what they're talking about. But hey, it's the same story every quarter, man. Like Neil said, if it does get hit on dips, I think you want to try to buy it. I don't buy Apple at these kind of levels. It's just too much in the middle. I would say you either got to wait for that 200 period moving average, or if it takes the 50 and you're not in and you missed it, then it does run to 290 anyway. So that's 270 break up to 290. You still get your 10% that way. But yeah, I like Apple. Small dividend, huge buyback, free cash flow monster. Hard to not like this name. And plus we still have like the wonder about what Berkshire is going to do with all their money as well. I don't, seems like they've been selling off their Apple position, which we know that they've been doing, but I don't know if they start to buy back in at some point or not. But yeah, I like Apple tonight. I'm excited for it. That is for sure. All right, it's 9:12 right now. Gold all-time highs, silver starting to pump up. We talked about copper. Oh man, I might just sell my house just for the copper alone. Like, how much has that been added? I'm gonna go figure out how much copper. Yeah, when was my house built? Like, I gotta make sure there's tons of copper in there.
You gotta get Bubs to come in, clean you out, take it to the metal man, and get that bank.
Yeah,
just don't do what Bubs did after.
What, is that a wire one, Bubs? Oh, okay, that's why I don't understand.
He's actually maybe.
When you said that, I thought you meant Trailer Park Boys, when the guy's stealing those carts and taking them in, and Bubbles. Well, right there. But I was like, wait a minute, there's no copper in shopping carts. It's all like steel and stainless and all that kind of stuff.
One of their heists was to knock down a
copper joint?
Bubbles and his boy went to knock down one of those like light poles.
Okay.
Because they see one that's down, they're like, we take this to the metal man. We'll be here for a week. So they're like, well, we knock down one of these things, get it to the metal man.
The metal man doesn't pay that much. Well, now it must, because that's a good point. Like, I took, was it a dishwasher or something there? I guess dishwasher doesn't have that much metal in it. Or maybe no, it was a bar. I had like a stainless steel barbecue, and the guy wanted to give me like $10. The thing was like huge and heavy and everything. But anyways, better that than, got to recycle it. Or there's a guy that comes around with his own truck, and I just leave things out there and he puts it in. It's like, I don't return liquor bottles or anything anymore.
No, there's always someone that,
Yeah, the guy comes around and.
People in the neighborhood that do that.
Yeah.
We used to have the guy at our building when we had our trading floor.
Yeah, it's always nice to help those guys. You get 10 cents a bottle or something. I don't know, whatever.
But you're definitely getting a little bit more than you were in the metals as we talk about gold, silver, and copper, and just about everything to the upside.
Here we go.
Just flying. And the miners as well, as you were talking about with Luis there, Brendan.
Yeah, take your pick. Everything to the upside. Ho-hum, another day, another all-time high here for gold. We cleared 5,600 and then some on gold this morning. We're coming back in a little bit here, but solidly above 5,500 way today. It'll probably be 6,000 when we come in. This is just unreal.
It is unreal. I mean, the spot price, the futures price, take your pick. They're all marching up. Silver, as well, as Neil mentioned, up almost 4% there. Look, you know, everybody's got a reason. Everybody's got an opinion as to why this thing's moving up. Let's talk about some of them. Some of the analysts here are saying demand is being driven, of course, by geopolitical risk, as well as ballooning government debt, uncertainty around rates and currencies. We'll talk about that in a second, with the U.S. dollar really dropping to local lows. Persistent central bank buying, though, according to analysts, continues to underpin the move up, with expectations of eventual monetary easing to boost non-yielding assets. That means, like, hopefully we get the 2 cuts later this year, as well as other central banks. But it's U.S. dollar index down 11% in the past 12 months. There's an inverse correlation between the strength of the U.S. dollar and gold, so that obviously has a buoying effect. Analysts are arguing, though, that prices are being driven more by liquidity flows than the actual physical supply and demand. So it's a bit of a disconnect, Brendo, between the real markets and the speculation. And as a result, some people keep making the same argument that we're going to have aggressive pullbacks. But the other side of the coin is, when these commodities trend, they trend for a while.
Yeah, and that was kind of the narrative I was leaning on this morning when we were talking with Luis about the junior miners, specifically small cap, and going to benefit from this higher prices and the ability to sell their product. But when it does start to, you know, normalize,
right,
what will happen to some of these? But I mean, I just pulled up GDX here. This is a weekly chart for GDX going back to the beginning of 2025. This thing's just been straight to the upside. XAU was another one I saw this morning flying around. This is gold and silver if you want to get really crazy, guys.
We want to get insane. I'm ready to lose my mind one more time up in here.
That's all these things are.
And finally, that gold grill that I bought a couple of years ago, finally it's starting to pay off a little bit over here.
Well, I got to go back and, well, the problem is the backyard's covered in snow, so I can't even dig up the chest. I'd probably get to it. It's just too much work.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
have to wait. Hopefully this run will last long enough that we can do that into the spring. But there's 2 patterns happening, one on gold and one on silver. And I've been playing the one in silver, which I think I do again today. But the last 2 days on gold, it's been more, let's lull you into a we're not doing anything, and then look at the clean breakout of resistance late in the day. And then yesterday, gold, lull you into we're not doing much.
Gold.
And then late breakout at the end of the day. It sets up a resistance level that it doesn't seem to want to punch through for the entire day. And then at some point, this time it was 2:30. Well, it was after Fed, I guess they waited for. And then 2 days ago, it was literally at 3 o'clock. Waited for power hour before it did like just a crazy breakout. So I think for gold, maybe wait for that. Whereas silver, on the other hand, what's been working is allow it to, I'm not going to save these trend lines because then they get marked up. Allow it to set up a trend, break the trend. Set up a trend, break the trend. Like this kind of a thing. Yesterday there was a really tight one on the 15 early that worked, and then there was a late one that you had to play after Fed. So it's on the 15-minute chart for me specifically on silver, let it set up a trend and then break the trend. And when it's trending up like this, it just requires a ton of patience. But when it's trending down, it's almost easier because if you're favoring the long, you just wait for it to break the downtrend and you punch long, and it's been pretty good. So that's all I'm doing with silver. Wait for that 15-minute trend to set itself up, which requires patience. I wasn't even in this thing until it was literally 10:30 or something, like 10:15 to 10:30 was the first entrance in that one when it caught the bid. But for GLD, I mean, maybe it's almost better if it just consolidates all day. Then you get these late day breakouts and it goes ham. So you can be patient and wait for that too.
Look, I wrote down silver here. I mean, I've been trading it a lot lately, but there's silver 105 long. I don't, now it's gone. But I was going to say, like, we're trying to play the 200 period as a guide there. You can check the sticky note out here. I'll put it in the chat for everybody. But yeah, I mean, there it goes. Like, we're writing this stuff down when it's at 107 here, you know, and I'm just saying, like, oh, 105, you know, if that comes in, and I wrote down yesterday's closing prices, you know, but there she goes. So a play on the monetary system as well, right? I mean, people have really lost faith in what Bitcoin stands for, I feel like. So they're running to silver, they're running to gold, and it is just like, this is up, you know, on the year. I mean, this is kind of feels like it might be even just getting started. I was laughing the other day when some analyst was like, gold or silver is just getting started. I was like, what? But this was $70 Jan 1. So now you're at 110. You're up 55% in, you know, 20 trading days or less. So, I mean, this name just keeps on putting 5% on its head every single day, and here it goes again, another 5% here today. So these are lines, and they're nice, but that's a 21, that's the 50, that's the VWAP, that's the 200. They're all pointing up. They're all saying, let's go. It is full steam ahead on silver. Generally speaking, like I've had written down here on the note, let's take pre-market high breaks. Like we've been taking those all the time. You know, like yesterday's pre-market high, I guess we should have zoomed back out on this one. You know, you see yesterday, there's the move down in silver, made the move, and then once we finally broke this 102.50 in the after, when the announcement was going on, he started to skyrocket upside there as well. But today, we don't really have a pre-market high to sort of break, so we've already done that at 108 and change. That goes from this morning. I think a pullback into this area makes a little bit of sense, 108.50, but I think Neil's right, is just wait to see what this action is, because it's going to collapse one day like real bad. It just takes somebody that's some kind of a whale or somebody to dump whatever silver they have, or someone's going to say something. We got a little bit of a scare yesterday when either Hassett or I can't remember who it was. Derek kept on correcting us there. Mentioned, or Besant kept on. It
was Hassett.
Yeah, mentioned something about the U.S. dollar and supporting it, and silver whooshed downside there. So I don't know. I don't know if that can stop it. It whooshed downside, then just ripped right back up. So yeah, it really feels like this is something to watch out for here on SLV. The trade is definitely higher.
Joking around. Like I saw one point in the chat, someone was making. GameStop is going to change themselves to Silver Stop, or BMNR is going to stop investing in ETH, and they're going to go all into silver. Okay, so I know this is all fun and funny and jokes. If any of those types of headlines start getting said for real, then we got to top. If I start to see that kind of nonsense, or just. You know, we're considering putting silver on our balance sheet for some small cappers. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I feel like that'll be signaling us the top for sure. We haven't seen anything like that. I mean, the closest thing you came to it, which I think is actually perfectly reasonable, was when Tether is saying they're going to put some other reserves into gold. Like the entire premise of stable coins and Tether is to have a very good and stable balance sheet, and some of that being in gold is not, like, it's not crazy. Maybe not the best prices here, but it's not a crazy notion. It's an old one to have have that a stable balance sheet. What has a stable balance sheet, pays a dividend, isn't considered sexy, is up 8%. And it's not a secret what we're going to talk about next, because it's right there on the screen.
We got it.
Yeah, it was a no doubt positive report last night after the close, just straight to the upside. The second the numbers hit, we went from basically 292, 295, all the way up to 325, where we're hanging out this morning, 315, 320 for IBM on better results. They did make a lot of comments. I was reading about the quantum space, and a lot of people taking that this morning and saying this is probably not good for the Rigettis of the world and other of the smaller names in that group that we've touched on many times.
And what they said specifically, Brendan, and it came from the CEO, by the way, Arvind Krishna reiterated that IBM is on track to deliver its first ever large-scale quantum computer by 2029. So a lot closer than one would expect. Definitely before the end of the decade, if you believe his timeline. Let's talk about the earnings, Brendo. It wasn't a huge beat or anything like that. 452 EPS beating 432 on revenue of 19.69, beating the 19.23. But what really stood out to me here was profitability, net profit doubling, almost nearly doubling year over year, up to 5.6 billion, up from 2.92, really highlighting that operational leverage. Their guide looks decent as well, guiding 5% full year revenue growth, but that's moderating a little bit from the 8% that they grew at last year, but still a good headline number, ahead of the 4.6 expected by the street. And free cash flow now expected to rise by over $1 billion, hitting 14.7 billion, supporting, you know, the dividends and the buybacks that the company's engaging in. So not a bad look there. And their software revenue, I'm just going to go through some of these categories, up 14% year over year, Brendo, to $9 billion, driven by automation, data, and the Red Hat demand, and infrastructure revenue, which they make a lot of. Their mainframes, all the large servers that they have, up 21% year over year. That does make sense, though, with the data center build out.
Some of the smaller names, as we mentioned, on the quantum side, here's Regretti downside this morning. Most of them looking like this, guys, on, for the most part, a really good report here for IBM.
Yeah. So I'm looking this one up. The last time, let's put it this way. IBM has been paying dividends since Babe Ruth was a pitcher. 110 years is the streak. I was trying to think of like a big good baseball anecdote.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So, like, but if you're not a baseball fan, just like
Babe Ruth was playing around in
1916, because I think we get traded to the Yankees and after the Black
Honus Wagner.
Yeah, Honus Wagner back then. Hey, that just sold again, I think.
No, the Golden is there. Yeah, it's at 3 points. I was looking last night. It's at 3.6 million right now.
Okay, yeah, so that card's crazy. IBM is it's done unbelievable. It was a good Q. I think, like she said, there's a lot you can point to. Good cash flow position, which supports the dividend, is going to be a theme. I think the way it's trading, like pre-market here, like it's kind of a fail of the high, at least for now. You got to look back to about 312 to 313, if not 310, like somewhere in that range. It's like a full percentage range as it's trending down in to look for a dip. We've seen the story before where it looks really good, but it never catches that bid. It's going to have to do some kind of a trend break. I love the stock. I own the stock. I'm not a buyer of it up here. I'll be real with you. But if after this report it revisits any of this support, sign me up. Like the 50 period, that 300 to 290. If we end up down there, I think it's that's a dip buy, and that's one you throw in there. It probably takes 2 or 3 days to get in there, and that's what you wait to do. So I'm certainly buying the dip here, just not buying the top.
Yeah, so I know this one for sure. This is a name that I've had in the portfolio maybe for, I don't know, almost 20 years probably. So collecting those dividends, it was really a sleeping giant for a very, very long time and didn't do a whole heck of a lot. And right now it looks like it wants to break out again. So yeah, IBM, like just get the name in your portfolio. But realistically, buying something up 8% is difficult to do. I understand that. So I would wait for a little bit of a pullback, especially if you do think that there is a washout coming. You can almost wait until the end of earnings season. We've seen complete reversals in some of these names, right? I mean, I think this was the last earnings day where it was all the way down into the, we could look this up actually, October 23rd. I'm almost certain this was an earnings day. Made a move down into the 200, then just took off straight from there. Obviously, this earnings report is going to be different because we got this big middle finger to the shorts, but it still could top tick there and pull back. So for me, just waiting on IBM, you can see the trend is now a little lower here today. Nasdaq now turned red. We started the day up a little bit there, and now it's turning into that red zone. So I would say stay away from some of these big names. Even stay away. I mean, we talked about Meta. I'm even staying away from Meta up here. Like that's kind of climbing higher. I would love for it to come back in and buy dips. I'm not saying stay away from this name, but you know, with this sort of increase play here, up 10% at the day's high, just very nervous about what this Nasdaq is trying to do. But Meta just doesn't have to follow the Nasdaq. That's taking out right now, just now, take out day's high. So there goes Meta. But yeah, I like IBM. I like that dividend about 3%. An easy way to catch a little bit of a floor, I guess, on what to expect on IBM. At least you can catch that dividend. Although, if the tech space falls, man, that 3% is gonna
it's not gonna
look like nothing. Not gonna matter. Anyways, Meta getting a pop to days
almost
high.
740 now for Meta.
Yep. Gonna be a crazy one. All right, 2 minutes left, and yeah, here we go. The IPO. Let's go find out the details. I'm gonna probably take this one long. you know, but
it's a matter of how much I like it. It's not.
Yeah, the last couple haven't worked out, but let's go talk to Sharif or Brendan about it because we only have a minute before this market opens.
It might be in the right space, a little more interesting anyways in the space. York Space Systems, in fact, coming to the NYSE. YSS is going to be the symbol coming up today. I mean, 30 to 34 bucks, 600 and change million. So it's not huge, but let's see what happens.
Not bad. Yeah. What I would notice right away is that it was priced in within the range, not over. And we've been seeing a lot of the ones over the range. They'll be like $2, $3 over. So that's the first thing. Upsize float. They increased the size of the float by 15% from 16 million up to 18.5. It has tier 1 support. By that I mean the likes of Goldman, Jefferies, Wells Fargo, all underwriting it. Market cap and valuation at $34 a share. It'll be 4.34 billion, and we expect it to start trading today, Brendo, on the NYSE.
You guys will be all over that probably during the midday. Expect that to show up somewhere around then. Remember, 10 o'clock numbers today, guys. Apple after the close. Good luck.
Yeah, I actually did a little bit. I was looking last night. I mean, generally speaking, it's the IPOs have become like between 11:30 is like the earliest you can get it. It seems like, and then 1:30, sort of the latest. One of the last ones was 1:30. Was it Gemini?
The big one's 1:30 is about as late. It's always before 2 o'clock.
You don't mind if it's later either if you're going long because the longer it is.
It means there's more interest. And speaking of interest, you should have some interest in Beta Pro. Shout them out as we ring the opening bell right about now. Didn't get a chance to talk specifically about Bitcoin. So I'm shorting the 50-30 on Bitcoin. That's the first thing. So prior lows yesterday, I like the short. But much like yesterday, if we just fall off, I'll look at this $50 level on IBIT, I should say, down at 88,000. Meta is already 740 just broke on Meta. It's now 741 as it just continues to go. It did reach these levels. It was a 741 top in the aftermarket yesterday. So this is a fresh break, not all-time highs, but certainly a big breakout. Palantir is not going to break higher, it seems.
Tesla's not doing much.
Whoa.
So both winners and losers are going in their respective way right here. Microsoft breaks that low of 445. Now we're into 437 as Microsoft who thought Microsoft's going to go SSR? Put your hands up. I mean, come on. I was not expecting that one. Here it goes. It might get the bounce.
Hey, what's happening to AMD here?
This is what I'm trying to say right here with Meta is maybe that might be the high. Watch out for 744. I don't know. It's down 10 bucks from there now. Microsoft, there it goes, man. It is going to get SSR. Nvidia, you just said what's going on with AMD.
AMD is up to $260.
Okay, I was going to say, as long as it's not going opposite of Nvidia.
Well, that's not going to flat bottom break the 250 anytime soon. That's certainly for sure, obviously. And Palantir, the other name that we were discussing, there was a lot of chatter about Palantir because of what happened to it yesterday. That broke yesterday's low almost instantly. So that just went red. And for everyone asking in the chat, SSR means short sell restricted.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If a stock goes down 10% from the prior close on the North American markets, the uptick rule goes into effect. That means you cannot hit the bid on, I have Tesla up right now. You can't hit the bid to go short unless the last print is green. So there's some greens you could hit the bid.
Why is AMD
short.
doing that?
So I don't know why AMD is doing that, Sean. I am questioning that myself. Who knows? But Tesla, okay, so Tesla is actually bouncing. I still want to see a 15-minute candle holding 438. And the other thing that we're looking at, obviously, is going to be silver. It was breaking higher, fresh highs. It's still kind of consolidating here. It needs to set up a trend for me to trade this. I want a trend break one way or another, and we just opened up. Oh, Meta's right back.
This is Nvidia right now.
Meta just gave up 730.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a reverse.
Mentioned to everybody, I would not be longing Meta up here, and there it goes. But we should have longed Nvidia. We had written down 190, but there it goes. It's only 930 too. Let's just relax for a couple seconds there. I was about to short AMD off through 260. That was the top tick there. Shorting it, I don't know. There. That's hilarious. Like it was just at 259.50, and then it literally bumped $1 in one print. This is what we're talking about. People are marketing in. Like, look at this. It was just at 260.50, and I was like, oh, man. Like, so if you just took a 260 short, you just lost 50 cents probably there, and now it's $1.50 in the money. So explain that to me, why I'm going to sit here and put in real shares into something like this when this is just what's happening. That 260 short I would have got smoked there as it comes right back up also. But here's 193. See you later, man. Nvidia, let's go, man. We really, really enjoy
Oh my God.
this stock. I mean, this has been such a nice little banger right there. We said yesterday this was going to be the trade for today. So maybe we should take a little bit of a break here of 194 or 193.50, whatever that is right there. You had basically 194 on Nvidia, but it's starting to go upside right now. That's going to be a good trade. I think I'll take that break. I just wanted to see exactly what that level was, but it is a nice little break there happening on Nvidia. Even right now, the break is already on 193 and change. That's yesterday's high level into the close, but there it goes, man. Nvidia still ticking higher and higher. Silver's not doing, I mean, we should have been long Nvidia already. Silver's not doing a whole heck of a lot here.
Yeah, it's
could fade, but we're waiting for some key levels to come through on silver, and then just check back. We haven't even looked at Tesla yet, another earnings name. So again, you know, we're not, I wrote down
cruise lines are going nuts right now.
Yeah, RCL reported, right?
Yeah.
There it is, nice downside move there, 432. This is the level that we said to look out for. We were never gonna sit here and take that trade, but there it goes, breaking back down. I guess they don't like the Tesla report either. Did Softy go 10%? Yes, it did. So now your SSR on Softy. Wow, man, everybody just giving it up. Were you smart enough to sell Meta at the top or what? Meta's still going to be okay, though. Meta's still up 9%.
Yeah.
So.
But that's why you don't want to chase at the open when you're gapped up like that. I don't know if you want to chase RCL with a report and up 13%. CCL is going to be up on sympathy. So if you're looking for bullishness, because the market doesn't really have much of it right now, you're probably going to have to look at small cap or somewhere, or you're going to look at these cruise lines. My goodness, yeah, Tesla's really losing the bet. We were joking around about we weren't joking around, but we were saying this 150 in passing on Palantir, that support level at 150. It's going to get there at this rate. So yeah, there's no way I thought this was going to be a thing, but it looks like it is going to be a thing on Palantir at the 150. Let this one calm down, or
starting
hit
a
the
short.
150 level. The only thing I'm trying to short was that IBIT right now.
Oh man, silver's coming in quite nicely as well. We have the US dollar. I started to short on AMD. We have the US dollar right here. Maybe I'll zoom in. We can have a quick little look to see what that's doing. So starting to go to the upside. I'm short this name against 259.50. I'm not going to give it to this 260 again to get run like that. So we'll wait. We're short right now on, okay, here it goes. We're short on AMD. Now there it is, man. You're instantly in the money right there, $1. So we are doing it again right now on AMD. Let's just see how far it can go. We are now almost, well, it's a buck and change. Let's get out of 20% right there at 50s. There it is, man. It's $1.50 in the money. We got it again right there. As we'll see if this one can go into the gates of hell for advanced micro devices. It's now $1 and $2 now in the money to the downside here on advanced micro devices. As we get lower and lower, we'll take out another fill. There it goes, man. AMD, see ya. We waited for the trade. It's there. There it goes.
We got a super chat in here very quickly. Control Alt Escape. Andre, can you get that one up because I'm not on the page? JPM to the upside off a trend break on the daily chart. Okay. Bought at 297, taking light profits today. Swing target 330. Look, I'm looking for where there might actually be some strength today. Yeah, JP Morgan. I haven't looked at the other banks. That's pretty darn clean off the 300 level. Love that support on JP Morgan. I'm a bigger fan of Morgan Stanley, so it is what it is. Like, you kind of pick and choose. I like the deal making. We got an IPO again today as well, and that one's bouncing off the 50-period moving average. I think you can't go wrong dip buying quality stocks for sure. Whether or not you can do that today on Microsoft, I don't know. But IBM did dip, and if this is a real wick, we tagged 312 once. Might have to do it again, but this is looking at least a little bit strong. Man, are you kidding me, IBIT? Yeah, Bitcoin already heading to the downside. We got another super chat.
All right.
What about AppLovin? Ooh, I don't know much. Does AppLovin have a story today? I don't think so. I don't think AppLovin's got a story today. It's up, which is not what the market is doing. Yeah, it's just another one.
Confirmed, no story.
No story. So just another bounce. It's just another bounce off support, I think, with AppLovin. I'm not a gigantic fan, to be real with you. Like, there's more enticing things at 200-period moving averages and support levels, right? Like, I'm actually looking at this move in Microsoft and saying, like, when. It's hard not to like it here, but we always talk about the 3-day rule. But it's hard not to want a DCA, like 420, picks them up at 380. Like, this is getting stupid. 10% down on Microsoft after that quarter?
Yeah, no, thank you. We will we'll take $4 on AMD. AMD just cracked into 254. So we get a 254.25 fill right there, right into sort of where we started the day. Could start to bounce back up. I'm out of 60% of this. Let me take another piece right here. Out of 60% right now out of about 65% or so of AMD. I'm still bidding near the lows here of 254.25 one more time. If we can get that fill one more time, we'll try that. And then the pre-market low is 253. So we can, that would be, 253 would be something else, but let's see if we can get a bid down there at 253 as this one continues to go. So see you later on AMD. All right, so Tesla, just to go back in, I mean, welcome everybody. Yeah, hit your like, hit your subscribe as we show everything. Yeah, 425, down 1%. Not a big move for Tesla, right? I mean, 1%. And generally speaking, you'll get that on a normal day, not an earnings day, but it is straight down. I like the idea of focusing on Optimus and everything and robo-taxis, but the market right here, not appreciating what they had to say yesterday. And if Elon can't save it, then who's going to? And there it goes all the way down to the downside. A little bit of a retracement back upside now for AMD. Let's take out another piece here. I just don't want to get caught with being too greedy with all of these plays. We'll take out another. Oh, did I just get that? Yes, I did. So I just got 255.85 for $2 or so on that one. Wow, about 230. All right, let's see what Apple's doing. Apple, again, like, if we're seeing what's happening right now with these names, I don't know what Meta's doing, but we saw Microsoft getting crushed there.
Meta hasn't had a green candle.
So Meta's down as well. So no surprise here that Apple continues to fall down a little bit. And then our good friend Google as well. That was probably falling to the downside. This would be the name that I'd buy on any kind of weakness here, Google. So we'll have to wait for the long-term account. We'll have to wait to see where that's going. Hopefully AMD and everything can keep on making its moves lower. Nvidia was a 190 look for me yesterday and today, but right now we're still short on AMD. So we're gonna have that one settle down before we wind up doing anything here with Nvidia. But yeah, that's
425 just went on Tesla. Wow. 152 just went on Palantir. I cannot believe Palantir might actually get to that 150. So IBIT came back to VWAP. Look, every single day I like a pop and fade in this thing. And if it doesn't pop, then it's the fade off the volume weighted average price early, which, that obviously worked yesterday. We'll just do it again today. Into not yesterday's low, but Wednesday's low is going to be the play. You mentioned silver, but let's show it again. It's holding up pretty nicely. It just bounced off the volume weighted average price. There's still no distinct trend. But there is one forming, and it's to the downside, right? Like if you have from the pre-market highs, it's still forming one. I'd still give this at least until maybe 950, get a couple more candles in there for sure. And my goodness, right? Palantir now crossing 151.5. It wants 150 at this point. There's almost no question we're getting down. But it's a huge support level on Palantir. That's the only reason we're bringing it up. Palantir doesn't report until Monday, but Meta as well. Like Meta was breaking 741. Now look at this thing. You're coming back in. 700 seemed like a reasonable support level. That was our initial resistance when we were live with you guys. We popped to 700, consolidated for a bit, and then it went absolutely ham. As we're still heading downside heavily here. I see in the chat, feed apparently is going again.
Is it? Good for them.
Get it, feed. Oh my goodness.
Up another 38%.
38%? Oh, no, we joked about this, that feed is feeding the shorts, something they do not want. No, this is, wear the brown pants today if you're short this stock. Feed up 40%, past $3. This was a $1 stock yesterday, and now it's a $3 stock. 10 minutes into the open. This thing is wild.
So AMD breaking VWAP right there. We just took another fill at 255 again, right there ahead of the 200 period.
You gotta be kidding.
Sorry, the 50 period moving average. I'm still gonna wait. I'm still waiting down here for another fill. So here it comes. We're bidding 254.25 to get out of a third of what we have left. And there we go. Now that will put us in 20% left. So we have, 25%. 25% left right now on AMD as we just grabbed that bottom tick again there on AMD. Meta still going southbound. What? 717, Neil. I didn't realize it was that aggressive right there. So yes, sir, we do have the banger on AMD, man. That's been an absolute monster. I didn't even realize IBIT broke 50. I see that on your screen now as well. But there it goes, man. Meta to the downside pretty aggressively. And then, like we said, this is the problem with day one of earnings plays. You don't know where the bottom's going to be or the top, so you can get it both ways. But Microsoft right now might be telling us a story of 430. Just came right into that. It looks like it wants to bounce off of it. Not really anything for me technically on a 430 level here, but you know, psychologically, maybe that was the stopping point. And we said as soon as it got SSR, you sometimes do see false bumps a little bit. So not that this was a false one, but we're going to wait because it's still very, very early. We don't even have, like, we just have a close of 2 5-minute bars. DXY kind of not doing much. And then before I go to Adara, I just want to do our minute-by-minute check on silver. That's now only up 3% as it's faded off 110. Again, not a psychological level on an ETF, so that doesn't really matter too much there. And then the other one would be gold, and then we'll go back over and see what Adara's got for us. Yeah, down as well. So just down slightly here on gold off the open. Adara, I haven't been able to say hi to you today, so hi Adara, how are you doing, and what story do you have for us?
Hi, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing well. I just want to let you guys know some of these earnings calls are happening right now, including that of MasterCard, but I want to mention Boeing. Boeing apparently going to be building 4 additional MH-139A helicopters for the U.S. Air Force. So U.S. Air Force helicopters here for BA. That's going to be on watch. I just wanted to mention that headline. We do have some economic data coming at 10 a.m. That would be the factory orders month over month, as well as wholesale inventories and wholesale sales. Back to you.
AMD is now $5 in the money, so we'll floss it off, and we will say obviously a big thank you as Randy brings us some espresso. Mine seems like I had an accident. I got a little spillage action. I mean, good thing it didn't spill all over myself, but that must have been from before. So cheers to everybody. If you're having an espresso, have it one with us, and watch this money sort of climb through here on the shorts today anyways, as Apple just takes out 256.
There's nothing catching a bid that I can see outside of IBM and Intel. IBM's at VWAP for what it's worth. Intel, without a particular catalyst, is above VWAP and trying to break higher. So if there's a kernel of strength in a tech stock, it's for whatever reason going to be in Intel and IBM makes sense to me because I like they had a good quarter. But Intel being up is a bit
Nasdaq's
weird.
down 1%, dude.
Yeah, we're already down a point. I don't know why Intel is even up. It's like this stock, if anything, should be selling back in. All right, Palantir is getting even closer. If you're looking at this level 150, it's obviously going to be a heavily trafficked area. I don't expect we see 150 that it would be clean. There's almost no chance it's going to be clean off the 150 level. The wick lows are all the way down to 147 on the daily chart for Palantir. So this could travel through once or twice before coming back in. But if it trend breaks, that's what I'm going to like for sure. And speaking of trend breaks, you're resuming that downtrend on SLV. There we go. I want to pull this over so you guys can see better. And now you've really got a downtrend going on SLV. So if it breaks that, that's what I'll like to the long side. If it gets to support, that's a different story. Support being the highs of yesterday at about 106. So silver was holding up better, but now that it's showing some weakness, that gives you something to revert. You can't buy the dip reverting long in silver, which has worked until it starts going down. Side Quest Investor, this is the second time you sent this super chat. Are we at the top? If you've been saying that for a while, it's been wrong. And in a bull market,
yes?
you got to, well, I mean.
I don't know the answer to that question.
We still have Apple earnings. We still have Alphabet earnings. We still got Amazon. Like, it's just so much that has to happen. But I'm not calling a top today.
I mean,
day after the Fed is usually the wrong day to make a decision.
Anytime you call something, like it's are we talking about the top in the Nasdaq? Are we talking about the top in the S&P 500?
Yeah, it's just like in the S&P.
Yeah, I think you never want to do something like that until you do say go through what you said there. You got to go through earnings season first, and there's so many big names still to come, man. I mean, sure, we just got the big stack yesterday, But you could just throw out many names out there that will affect the market moving forward. Speaking forward, geez, Google's still down that 1%. I mean, look, we're $5 in right now, $4 in, sorry, almost 5. We did go 5 down there at 253. We got another fill there as I took a 254 fill and getting lighter and lighter on this. Actually, on that note, let me take one more piece out here at 30. We'll build that level and then try to get that out. But yeah, Google, go over to Neil's screen. I mean, that one's really getting hit to the downside. And then with one day before SoFi earnings, is SoFi in the AM tomorrow, Adara? Yes, because I was going to say because it's Friday, so no closing earnings. And if there was not yet actually, Andre, as there was Pan W, I think was the most famous Friday. Remember they kept rescheduling and everything?
Yep, I remember that.
And eventually it was on a Friday. But if you are a savvy Canadian trader, then you would be looking to boost your exposure. You can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily levered ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves while minimizing the impact of, you guessed it, currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Please read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Those levered ETFs and everything are great tools for day traders. But check it out. There's obviously a time decay, and everybody watching this show would know about that because Neil and I discuss that all the time. But yeah, it's funny because I was watching another channel, something called BNN, and it was programming is not really where we are, but they did have an ad for Global X on there as well. So they're making a push. Go check out Global X for sure. All right, Eddie the dealer, we got a super chat. Throw it in there when you get a chance, Andre. But no rush there. This guy is switching the show, doing everything he can. What is he dealing? Silver over here? Minus 2K. Okay, 30 contracts. All right, so $1.50 a contract on silver.
What was
I mean, the thing about
everyone has to have a trade plan. Like I don't know what your out was. What's your risk tolerance?
I was just gonna say right, like what is when do these expire? But at the end of the day, I would not panic about silver. Like I don't know how much that's worth to you to let those things expire, but silver has crazy runs. And like just because it just touched down on the 200 period, oh my God, what did I write down?
It's actually trying to break the trend right now.
So it's trying to break it back to the upside here for silver. So don't panic too much on this, but I think Neil just nailed it. Like you got to have a trade plan. So if you've dumped into this trade $5,000 and you're down $2,000, you're down 40%. That's probably pretty reasonable considering you're probably trying to shoot the moon on this, right? So I don't see any reason for silver going down today, but watch the US dollar would be my take. I wrote down 105 as a dip buy opportunity. That's yesterday's open.
Yeah, it's yesterday's close.
Yesterday's closing price. So I thought silver had a chance to make the move back in. But yeah, there it is, bouncing nicely off the 200 period. So Eddie, the dealer, if you're gonna ask me where to cut bait on this or bail, I would say a break of basically this pre-market low 107. And you can even, if you want to get save a little bit of cash on that and not hold it all the way. And again, this is not financial advice. You're just asking us for some levels. 107.50 is the current low. So, sometimes when levels break, they can get pretty ugly. So do your best on that one. And I'm sorry about that, Eddie, the dealer. And I hope you had some big wins to sort of counteract that. So
I'd hope so. If you've been trading silver long, then hopefully you have. But yesterday's high is also, it's also Monday's high. Like you have a double top at this 106 level. So anybody, like if you're swinging something, for it to not even lose this double top that it gapped up over, like hopefully that wouldn't be concerning whatever you're down, because I feel like minimum risk is until it breaks somewhere under that. Speaking of,
you can put the YSS order in, by the way, but it's not doing anything.
Oh, okay. So we have.
So let me just indicate this. I know Neil is going to go on to something, but I'll give him a second if he wants to put the order out. I don't know.
No, I want to pay for locates too.
Yeah. So this is what this looks like today. YSS Yellowstone. They're going to come through. They are a play. It's a space name. I'll have to figure out exactly. I was reading about it yesterday, and I forget. I don't want to tell you guys. Maybe Derek, can you do maybe a 30-second rundown on YSS? For people, no, take your time. There's no rush. But it's not, here it is, right? I should just highlight it so we can see it. It's not like an aggressive mover here on the imbalance locator. So we only have 114,000. That's nothing. I told Neil, if this thing's like under 500,000 for the paired volume, then I don't even think we need to participate, because the idea of trying to buy the opening print on these IPOs has to be with demand. And it's like, I don't want to say you're the sucker, because I don't know where it's going to go. But like, if I put into this imbalance, let's say even 1,000 shares, like I'm kind of a big part of it.
Well, for the record,
and I don't want to be part of it.
We've literally not taken the opening print on an imbalance that is not at least a few million.
Yeah, I was going to say a million. That's why I was like, if 500,000 is what we're talking about.
I can't believe.
Yeah, feed, man. That was up 38%. I'll look at this, and we're going to go over to Adara. But yeah, up $4. We had actually talked about this again. It's the feeding tubes for hospitals, and we talked about over 38 hospitals. And there it goes, man. Yesterday this was $1. We started talking about this last week. It's $1 up to $4 now. There goes feed. So yeah, buddy. As the market is getting fed downside right here. Oh, I didn't even realize we got that. Okay, we get that, Phil. Just like, look at that crack. That cracked the low of the day and just dropped like $1 instantly, then went $1 right back up. Oh boy, man, that is a $5 winner right there as we get into the Lambo. That's not a Model S, because, you know,
can't
get those anymore. But I guess that could be one, because you're driving it right now. All right, Adara, what you got for us back there?
There's not too much info on this company. It's also not called Yellowstone. It's called York Space Systems. They said they're going to be, this is just their website, this very, very hard to read font says, we design and manufacture all phases, from space-based infrastructure to secure data routing and advanced technologies. We deliver mission-critical solutions that ensure global connectivity, resilience, and strategic advantage. So basically, very, very opaque space stuff is how I would summarize this business, because it's kind of hard to find any info on them. Yeah, this is their website, though, York Space Systems. Even the menu is very weird and hard to access. But yeah, I mean, cool look here for YSS. Apparently they got a partnership going back to July 2nd. That is the most recent announcement this company has had. That's like over 6 months old, guys. Back to you.
I was trying to read that. What did it say about baseball becomes the first?
Why did I see the Rocky?
Jersey patch deal.
Why are they showing
Dante Bichette
25 years ago?
It's a weird website.
What? I understand that, but I don't understand. What the hell's a jersey patch deal? Should I be going short this thing?
No, but if you got a jersey patch deal, why are you showing me Dante Bichette from like the guys?
Because they're trolling us.
We're being trolled.
They're trolling with the Bo Bichette
patch deal 20 years ago.
Where's the Bo Bichette?
That doesn't even make any sense. No, but like if you look here, it says they have the #1 provider to U.S. Department of Defense proliferated warfighter space architecture. I mean, that sounds all well and good, but I don't know, man. I have a trouble trusting somebody that would have that up there and then you don't have recent footage of the rocket. Like, oh, that is just beyond bizarre. Anyways, I'm not going to
worry too much about it, but I do think that
it's binary. Right now, the open interest is still 1/3 of a million shares. That is absolutely nothing. This is a great super chat from Eddie, and I want to give. I don't have an applause. I don't know. There's like a fist bump one we can maybe do, but Eddie the Trader, if the chat has questions and can't afford a super chat, reading the best questions, I'll ask Sean Neal for you. I'm here to support too. Eddie, that's unbelievable gesture. We tried.
By the way, you could do a penny. I mean, I understand that. I understand that people don't want to hook up their credit card and all that, but that's a great point. I mean,
we try to get to as many as we can. Sometimes it's.
We're always looking at the chat. If there is something there, we will definitely call it up. The super chat just lets us see it. It's not like we're cherry picking those, but we do. If you do contribute, it's nice, and we do like to answer those. But
that's very clear.
All right, so you're in nothing. I'm only in the one trade.
It just hit the low. So
there goes Bitcoin, Microsoft again.
Like I was looking to play the range. It didn't get to 50. It didn't get to 50.30. So we short VWAP because it's the only place you can. We reloaded VWAP, and then it got to what day is today? Thursday. So it's Tuesday's low. So 2 days ago. That 49.4 that it just bounced off of. So I'm out because it went to structure, and then I'll just play the next available pop. Maybe it pops to VWAP like yesterday. Maybe it doesn't. I have no idea. We'll look at whatever is going to be next. My sights then go over to silver because that's the only thing doing something remotely around what the plan of action was going to be, which is it's trending one way. clearly trending to the downside, holding up better than the market, which I think is a bit of a plus. All it has to do is break the trend line, and I would take my first shot at silver. It's not a big trend on the 15-minute. That's the only thing it's giving me pause. Like, it's a B because the trend is on the 3-minute, not the 15. The 15-minute trend breaks have been much better for silver. And if you're still waiting for Palantir to get to 150, whoops, that's Blue Ocean. It's here now. Remember I said it might not be clean? Well, it's not clean. Why is it still Blue Ocean? I hit enter. There we go. So there was nothing clean about the 150 level. It's already gone back and forth on consecutive candles. So it has to break this trend through here. And remember when I showed you guys the daily chart? The daily chart on Palantir, the wick through 150 is to 147. So there's at least like a couple of dollars worth of wiggle room underneath the 150 that this could go to. But it's at the point now where at least I'd be looking for a curl. Eddie, again.
Tons of memberships here. Thank you so much to Eddie, man. I mean, it's a 10 spot, it's a 10 spot, it's a 10 spot. That's 30 memberships at $5 each. That's 150. Thank you so much for all of that, man. IESC earnings tomorrow. You're welcome. So you go check out IESC according to Zister Fitness there. But thank you so much, Eddie, and everybody's just collecting all of those right there. And it's going to get you, of course, if you are a member, you do get this morning note by Sharif. That's pretty much the most important thing. You can send some fun emojis and everything, and it's just a way of supporting the show. But today's just 16 pages there. Comcast, we didn't even get to Comcast. Southwest, talk about all of that today. SAP, everything's in here, man. Lockheed Martin is in here. Alphabet, everything is up in here. There's Apple Q1 earnings probe, everything Tesla. But thank you so much. This is a note that Brendan, myself, all of us look at every single day. We want to thank Sharif, and we want to thank Eddie for that. That is, he just dropped 10 more. More. All right, man. What a beast, this guy, man. Eddie the dealer, man. This guy's dealing out memberships right now, left, right, and center. So I don't know. We'll get the subscriber percentage going. This is to become a member, right? I mean, if you guys would like to, hit the subscribers. We have over 551,000 subscribers. And Eddie the dealer, you guys, he's going to be your favorite guy on chat right now because just because of that, you're all going to see the value of that $5 a month. That's all I can tell you. Check that out. We want to thank Eddie, the dealer, for 40 memberships. That's why, and by the way,
if you don't know what's going on and you're listening to us right now, you have to hit the subscribe button so that you can jump into the chat.
Yeah, if you're not in the chat, you don't get those memberships.
You can't get the memberships unless you're in the chat. You got to be in the chat and you have to enable gifts. That's important.
Yep. What's up, Adara?
What's up is in 5 seconds, now 3 seconds, we're getting the U.S. factory orders month over month, 1.6% forecast, negative 1.3% previous. Waiting for this number to populate here. Again, that is factory orders month over month. It looks like we came in here at 2.7%, so higher than expected factory orders month over month for November 2025. Wholesale sales month over month, 1.3%, higher than the forecast of negative 0.1%. So again, higher than expected factory orders and wholesale sales. And the market just keeps pushing lower. This is the Nasdaq making new lows of day. Be aware here, guys, in terms of other economic releases. We had those numbers at 10. We're not getting anything else. But at 11 a.m., we do have U.S. President Donald Trump having a cabinet meeting. So that's certainly going to be on watch. Let's talk here about some of these Meg 7 earnings. Microsoft, Tesla, Meta, all reported yesterday after the bell. Here's MSFT at day's lows. All three of these with a double beat. But Meta, by far the strongest here after guiding higher than expected, despite Capex guidance a lot above expectations. Tesla and Microsoft both at day's low. Tesla announcing a $2 billion investment into XAI, which is also run by Tesla CEO Elon Musk. And Microsoft struggling because its growth for Azure slowing down a little bit here. Meanwhile, Apple on deck, earnings after the bell. Maybe the more exciting or snazzy report, if you will, after the bell tonight is SanDisk. SNDK AAPL earnings. If you want those earnings, check out the market recap show tonight. Earnings with myself, Brendan, Sean, and Neil. But in the meantime, Sean and Neil are right here to give you guys trading content. Make sure to make sure to subscribe. And remember, factory orders and wholesale sales higher than expected. Back to you.
I want to show you something. Check the shirt I'm wearing. Okay, now here we go. Watch this.
Is that the shirt from the... Why is the color so wrong?
Same shirt.
Go back.
This was made like 4 years ago.
Play it again.
It's darker. It's I mean, you can see by the low. It's the same
You all saw it. You know what you're looking for. Everyone watching that, everybody just saw the watch go from one hand.
Oh, yeah, here, I'll show it again. Yeah, it's funny. It's like that David Blaine stuff.
Mine is worse.
Yeah, you change colors.
They slapped the pigment. First of all, they slapped me darker. Like, what is even going on with that?
Yeah, how come you're so dark there?
But it is super old. That was not
darkness.
That was not made by our current.
Holy
throwing that out there.
Get Eddie, my guy. A 50 spot?
Eddie again.
That's 90 memberships.
Everybody needs to get in the chat to make sure they can get these. Get in the chat right now. Make sure.
Jeez, thank you so much.
Eddie.
That is absolutely.
Eddie's not playing.
Honestly, man, thank you so much for that. That's awesome, man. I mean, as you guys know, we've expanded our team here. We've, Joe, Sharif, all these guys, Adara, we've got Sia on board right now. So, like, I know it's like 90 is a lot, and we want to thank you, Eddie, for all of that, and obviously the financial help on that is great. But we're putting the money back to work, man. But same tag on IG. Hey, just go find me, man. You will, you'll get tagged right back. So, just find me a friend, send me whatever message you want, man. That is an absolutely great. Thank you so much, and good luck to everybody out there, but especially you, Eddie, obviously, on that one. I don't know, Eddie, if you have this, but right now, man, we are going into the gates of hell. We're now $7 in the money on AMD as that just bleeds downside right now. I have no idea, like, how to hold these things, so we're being a small piece left, but there it goes to the downside. Like, could not have predicted this, and that's the one thing that I'm trying to get better at, trying to hold, like, a much bigger position for things like this, but it looked like it was a pretty much bouncing early, right? And so I was pretty happy getting off at the 200 period moving average there, and then just letting it bleed. And obviously the bleed is for real, because there goes Palantir as well. Whoops. We've been mentioning this one negative since like 180 or so on that break, right back down through here. And it just cannot catch a bid a couple days ahead of earnings. Palantir, like if you want to buy a call on Palantir, buy it now, because like it's getting absolutely smoked, and you get a 5% discount today at least. And I don't know if the call is going to be right, but we had talked about what the setup was heading into earnings, and you're right back into here. I do not like how easily that took down the 50-period moving average. So Palantir getting hit, and you made a comment yesterday, and we sort of talked a little bit about it, but software as a service here, Palantir's. It is like that, but obviously with their foundry and where they've been built, they're not just something that someone can just replicate. They have the certifications from the U.S. government, but we're getting killed here on Palantir. So nice downside play there, down 5%, but still $7 here.
Fair territory
on AMD.
Off the hot.
Oh yeah, it's down 20% easily. I think it's down 20% this week on Palantir.
Week? No.
I don't know, where was it? I mean, from that 180, I'm saying 180 down $40.
Maybe.
If it gets to that, I mean, right into here.
140 something.
Yeah, so there it is. Like just back here, we were 183 in Jan 16th. So yeah, about like 10 days or so, and this gets bearish or already into bear territory, as Neil mentioned. But we're $7 in the money on AMD with a very, very small piece. And yeah, so far so good on the trading. Silver to the downside today. There it goes. It does break that 107. 50 or so area that we were talking about right there. It does make a move to 106.50, now finding a little bit of a bounce spot, but silver downside. Gold, I feel like, is going to hold up a little bit better than silver, but both hitting the downside right now. So yeah, man, not great, as my computer has to be restarted again, I think, as it's going super slow.
You know what? I don't know
what's going on today.
Well, okay, I'll be real with you. Like, the chat went really crazy, and I was trying to engage in the chat, and like it was crashing. So I think it was like a Chrome thing. My PC was slow because there was so much going on. In the midst of this tank, I can't make this up, but Intel's breaking out the high of the day. So we're gonna get to Fluffy Hippo just 1 second, because this was not on the trade plan today, but it just bounced off yesterday's support. It's got a trend line up. If it wants to join the party and break the trend line, fair enough. But if it can bounce here and take out the high again, I'm gonna go for a long. And one of the only things that looks like it's strong, now we can get that super chat up from Fluffy Hippo. I'm glad that we are your favorite Canadians. Thoughts on Redwire? I've been DCAing on dips, like the chart, did your research, would love the take. So if you've been DCAing and you love the chart, and you've been doing your research, first things first, you've done the work, you've got to trust your own system, you've got to trust your own plan, for sure. That's what trading is about, that's what investing, swing, whatever it might be. But it's hard to argue with, I'm a trend line person, and when I started trading, I had like so many trend lines on my charts, it was absolute utter nonsense. But if I got crazy like before, where it's like, this is the trend line from the bottom, it's got the 50 period supporting it, here's the trend line on the daily when it started making the higher lows, you can then connect that. It's got support at 9, it's then got support at 11, it's got theoretical support at 10. On this particular dip, it hasn't tagged any of those levels. So like the place is usually, if I'm looking to DCA into something and I like it, then I'm looking at either the 10, or the 11, the 10, and the 9, and then giving it to the 50 period moving average. Or maybe I just pick one of those or two of those, depending on how aggressive I want to be. But this pullback hasn't touched any of the trend lines on Redwire. So still looks pretty good. Speaking of looking pretty good, let's go back to the day trade here, because Intel is now threatening, and I didn't hit save, so this is still going to be here. It's now threatening to break the trend along with the rest of the market. If it holds, the plan of action, if this holds and takes out the high, I'm punching long. That'll be 48.50. If Intel holds this trend line and breaks 48.50, I'm going long with a stop pretty easily underneath the trend line. Like, it gets really easy. One of the reasons I like trades like this is it gets very binary, my actions. And by the way, that Bitcoin, there has not been a bounce to get back in. 3% down now on IBIT. You never know it's going to fall this far. Obviously a bit of a fail. And Palantir is bouncing as well. But remember how patient I was telling you for Palantir? Only now is it attempting to break the trend line. And the reason I call it the trend line, there's one bounce, resistance, there's the open. So at least now it's trying to break the trend line. Confirmation would be holding this candle on the 3-minute above. But it might actually be Intel before any of that happens on Palantir. Still looking incredibly weak. The market's been so bad, the worst thing you could do is be early on a long setup or just trying to go long something that isn't strong, right? And even as I say that, like, here's Intel losing this bid. Like, it's just absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. Yeah, this market is, what's crazy is you had such good numbers. Like, all the reports were good. Yet we're selling anyways.
You're just seeing like a huge flush in many names, and now it's starting to hit gold again. I don't know if you're just talking about that, but there it goes, gold to the downside.
Silver broke 106.
Ooh, okay.
SLV, not silver. Sorry.
Yeah, and look what's happening to IBIT, Bitcoin. Yeah. $50 down to 48 and change. Man, we are losing. Like, anything that's been like a sort of a risk on sort of asset is really getting hit right now. Like these IBM, or not IBM, the Nvidias of the world, the AMDs, which has been a very risky play, obviously near some of these highs, right? Like a Tesla. And sorry, by risk on, I just mean like when the market's blasting and everything, like these are the stocks that lead it, right? And if you're looking for some kind of a return, and we say it's like a risk on day, that's generally when the market starts to rip. And then when this kind of a day happens, obviously you're getting flushed in those risk on assets, right? And that's a name like a Palantir. And if the Nasdaq started the day up 0.4, I think when we sat down here today, now you're down 1.5 on there. I had only written down silver at 105, and that was yesterday's closing spot. So like we are getting like right into that right now on SLV, and you can see right here with the dollar strength right there, that's the opposite of what we want to see for silver, but it should be good for multinationals. We talked about that, but that doesn't seem to matter today. But there's silver bouncing almost at our 105 area, so I think we could probably, let's take a shot down there. I mean, obviously, wow, we are now $9 right now. Hydration Nation, man, hydration up. AMD down to $250. Maybe we just end this trade. Let's just follow this 21 period. So do you know where my stop on this one was? Basically a break of 259. So we give ourselves about $1 worth of risk to make 10. I just said to Joe, like, wow, I got this AMD trade on, and he's like, nice trade. I was like, I never make enough money on it. But there it goes to the downside. Wish we would have held it all, but that's tough to do. 252, let's just get out of there if it does break. We'll cancel our stop order. You can't have multiple stop orders here. 252.01, if it breaks, we'll get out of a 100p of this trade, and that will be a break of your 21 period, which has been the momentum right there to the downside. I'm not going to use the 50 or the 200. It's too high up. I'm not going to give up $4 back to the upside. I'd much rather try to go long somewhere to try to pick that up. U.S. cloud-based companies downside. Intel's up.
It's down 1%, but it's
no, but it's up from its open.
But it's up. That's
it's up almost 60 cents. Oh, you're in it.
No, I'm taking the breakout.
Okay, good. Yeah.
It's 48.5. It just held VWAP, so it's loosely holding this trend line, not perfectly holding the trend line. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to get that out of the way. It clouds things. You're above VWAP. You're trending up. If you take out 48.5, it's like 3 cents above the current high. Once that happens, if the market has even a mini bounce, you've got to figure this would be good for Intel. And then the plan of action would be I like the long into this 49 level, yesterday's high. So that gives you
110 memberships
as well. Now up to 110 memberships.
110 memberships.
Oh, by the way, remember Palantir attempting to break the trend? Nope. Nope. This is why I wait for confirmation. Right? Like what happens? This is the candle for your trend line break. It's red. The second candle does not hold or break the prior, so no entry point. This is, like, for me, I've had more reasons to not take reversion trades lately in January. And I think it's helped out because you get the reversal where you're looking for it, but it doesn't break back through 150. It doesn't show you any signs of strength, so I don't have to jump all over it yet. Silver, on the other hand, silver is starting to hold a little bit. So the all-day trend from the morning, it's got a long way to go to be able to break that. But if you look at it from VWAP, it's showing some signs of slowing down right into prior close. It looks like it wants it, though. Yeah, it looks like it wants it.
People are asking about sticky note. Yeah, it's right here. It's on X. I just put the link. Did I put the link in the chat? Yeah, I did. It's just some ideas that Neil has one on X. We all have our little posts here. Silver 105 is the only one that's going to come into play because Nvidia, we're already short AMD. All these were long, so we said watch this IPO long right here. We'll go over the IPO in just 1 second with
it's
why.
Way too small.
Wait a minute. It's not Yellowstone. It's the other one. York Space. Yeah, Yellowstone was like
it's the name of the holding company.
Yeah, the holding company that's trying to bring this thing. Okay, so here we go, man. Right into 105 again. Like I said, this is probably, wow. AMD is now a 10 spot right now. So that is your face slapper there. AMD now $10 in the money. We might have to, let's adjust this now to 251. We'll cancel our stop on this one and now just let's just go to 250.50. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna rally up there. I just don't wanna keep changing it all the time. All right, so we'll go to silver. And just have a quick look. Okay, well now it's literally at my level of 104. So, all right, silver, sorry, 105. All right, we'll try it here. Well, I don't know, man. All right, we'll try small. I'm only going to give it to 104.50. Like, honestly, if this breaks lower, we'll get the heck out of Dodge here on SLV, all right? So there you go, okay. Nice little move higher. We'll get something out at 17s, and we'll wait, man. Now it's whatever. We just took there 40 cents on it. Let's see if it can continue a little bit higher. But yeah, silver looking like they're right back in. Wow, what a beast this SLV is today. Well, we put down 105. We'll give it 50 cents worth of room. Looks like we might get stopped out of this ASAP. Crypto stocks getting absolutely crushed, man. Bitcoin now into 85. So here we go. We're going to get stopped out of silver. And this is what we're talking about, Neil, about having a plan of action. So did not feel comfortable about it. Did not take very many shares. Lose on silver there as it continues to drop through our level of 105. See you later, man. That was yesterday's sort of closing area. So that did not hold at all as we tick lower on SLV.
But I can tell you right now, up 70%, and that's just today, is FEED. Feed is a medical device company to keep an eye on. We're talking NView Medical, and they design and market guided feeding tube platforms to hospitals across the U.S. today. The majority of hospitals do this procedure blindly, and that leads to avoidable injuries from misplacements. Think of this platform as a GPS for feed tube replacement, which can provide and improve patient safety and streamline how care teams work. And what stands out is the growing appetite for this platform throughout U.S. hospitals and how their tech fits right into clinical needs. Today, they're already in 38 hospitals. As hospitals push for safer, more efficient solutions, NView looks like a company building scalable technology with real-world demand behind it. Definitely one to watch, which, I'd be real, you guys have already been watching it. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like, the chat's probably mentioned it more than we have today.
By the way,
this stock is insane.
Yeah, not to interrupt you there, but silver just made a $2 move down. Immediately $2 down. So I'm glad that we took that super chat and we talked about this $7.50 level, 107. But this is why you have that plan, man. I was myself willing to lose 50 cents. And we didn't even lose 50 cents. We lost less than 50 cents. And there it goes because we were long at 88s. And there it goes. And we bought a little bit more at O's there, but we took some profit. So less than a 50-cent hit on a smaller piece as Jesus, man. By the way, Bitcoin is now at a crazy level.
85,000. Yeah,
so we haven't seen Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin right now. We haven't seen this since mid, I believe anyways. I think it's
I'm actually
about
looking for a long.
What?
These are mean reversion plays.
Yeah, since mid-December, I believe there. Yeah, 85. Yeah, right there, December, whatever, 20th or so. Nice move down there for Bitcoin. But as you mentioned, this is a level where if you believe in this thing, maybe. We just went to 98,000, man, 3 weeks ago or so there, and now you're all the way back down. So yeah, nice move there for BTC, needless to say, as that one just gets falling out of bed real quick right there. And this is the first, look what looks different about everything here, right? It's like this is the biggest candle. Obviously we have bigger gaps through, but that's a big one. 110 down to 101, give it down 10% here intraday on, or roughly 10% intraday on SLV. SLV is now at 101. So this is just getting worse and worse and worse by the second for silver. So will we catch a bid on that? I'm not sure. I think it's better off looking the other way and looking short. As you can see, the dollar just keeps on ripping higher as well. So normally good for multinationals.
Eddie's got a super chat about silver.
Okay, let's go, Eddie. Because Eddie just dropped 120, I believe, memberships, by the way.
We throw that, there we go. Silver refineries are overwhelmed with backlog. Jewelers pause buying, leaving pawn shops and coin dealers overstocked. Grab. Well, if you've been grabbing physical, that's usually the way to play it. But grabbing the bottom on this, it just bounced $3. You know what? I gotta show Bitcoin. Bitcoin also.
It's starting to hit up.
Look at this. That's a huge trend break. Yeah, this always looks ridiculous. But this is clearly, I don't have to draw the trend line. This is a break of trend. I still have an order to punch Intel long, which, believe it or not, is about to break out the high of the day. If you're looking for strength that isn't feed, it might just be Intel. And silver was strong, but it's looking weak. I'm just trying to get into this reversion and give to the low on IBIT. Wanted to show you guys that before I ticked over to silver. Look at the bounce off 101 on SLV. That looks like a capitulatory bottom. That's exactly the kind of thing that would turn. I'm not seeing enough of a bounce in Palantir. It feels like IBIT's just way more of a parabolic move down. So I would always prioritize that. Like, there's more shot to go to the upside. And I'm kind of hoping this could have, I'm flipping to this and hoping this move has brought Warner Brothers down to my bid. But no. Yesterday I had this trade on Warner Brothers. I know it's a buyout, but it is what it is. It did the same level here at trend broke, and it's breaking the trend as we speak. So I'm into IBIT, but I'm looking for mean reversions down here, and that's going to include this stock.
I'm going to try, I was going to say, like, if we do get back up here to 105 and change, I think I'm going to try a short on silver where we basically tried the long. That could be a big problem. But let's just see if it does have enough to reverse. I mean, we might not get any kind of a reversal at all here on silver. But if we do, then look for a move back up. I mean, this is 5 minutes ago we were at this level, so it's not like it's something that we need to worry too much about right now. But yeah, silver right now trying to do something, try to get back to the upside. So we'll try to short that and then see what winds up happening. But over to Adara for our small cap recap.
Let's talk here about GCTS, GCT Semiconductors. This one certainly not at pre-market highs, but nice, continuing to bounce here off these lows, announcing a licensing agreement with leading satellite communications provider to accelerate global 5G connectivity. So it looks like a semiconductor and satellite play a nice space here. Both those spaces pretty good here for GCTS. Then we have FEED. Of course, this has been discussed a lot today, but our friends at FEED or NVU Medical continuing to trade higher, announcing a distribution agreement that's been signed with UDeliver. That was as of yesterday. So again, day two play for FEED. Last but not least here, DCX. This one a little bit choppier, more range bound. This was featured on our watch list this morning. They announced on January 26th, that would have been Monday, that they have actually, they got a listing here, a notice that their Nasdaq listing is now an issue. Now, again, like only 4 days later, they announced that they've regained Nasdaq compliance. So DCX, we're getting Nasdaq compliance in a number of days. Good look for digital currency. X technology. Back to you.
Thank you as all. No.
Thank you very much, Dara.
There's just absolutely no need for me to say it out loud when we have a button that says, well, by the way, Sean just stepped away because he had to wish his son a happy 14th birthday. So everyone in the chat, when he gets back, he's going to be on the phone right now, but when he gets back, wait till he's back. And then when he sits down, we just try to time this right. Just type into the chat, happy birthday, Baron, but do it when he's sitting in the seat. Don't do it now, because we want to do this one live. So he turns 14. I'll never forget, Baron stole the show at my wedding. It was awesome. We were very much bring your kids to the wedding kind of deal to our friends. And let's just say you know who started the dancing on the dance floor. And he was all over it, which is really cool. He was like 3. He'd been like 3 years old, I want to say, at the time, which is super cute. So there was, look, we talked about that reversion on IBIT. So we broke. This is hard to see. It went so far to the downside. So it broke that prior bar high. There's no chance to get in. I wasn't chasing the move up there. So I just kind of put some bids in front of that prior bar, like this open at about 48.3. So grabbed the long way too high up, which means I got like a quarter of the shares I wanted because I didn't want to chase the move. The entry needs to be down here a little bit more because I'm risking to lower the day. But it goes up to 48.5 and immediately retracing. Still a pretty weak market. And then I told you guys about the Warner Brothers. That was just, I did this yesterday, and it was huge on a reversion at these prices yesterday. And then it did it again at the close. But it's just a VWAP for now. So the reversion's trying to come in here. Palantir is now making the curve. So for the first time today, like Palantir, that trend break actually held the bottom of the trend line, and now you're getting some good higher lows. I elected a couple of others because this was still looking weak, but it's looking pretty solid. If we can hold 148.5, consolidate here, I think the path to VWAP is still in tow. Market continuing to bounce. Somehow Intel was so relatively strong earlier, and it still hasn't broken this high. It's just, it doesn't want to break 48.50 yet. I still have I moved my order so you can actually see it. I have an AJ one now, so you can actually see the order. I'm only crossing up a few pennies for this to break out the top. Intel down 1%, but one of the few things that's threatening the high of the day right now.
All right.
The chat's going nuts, by the way. You might want to check it out.
Oh, happy birthday. Oh, you mentioned it. Yeah, thank you for that. Oh, wow, I should tell him that as well. Chat going nuts. Forbears, thanks.
In time, yeah, 10:24.
Yeah, 10:24. Yeah, it's my kid's 14th birthday today. Wow. He wants to go. I was just saying that to Joe. I was like, I just had to say happy birthday to him. But yeah, 14 years old. Like, wow,
how quickly.
What a beast. And he wants to go. So around here, the kids can pick whatever they want to do, obviously, for their birthday dinners and stuff like that. My parents will be here. His brother will be coming down from Waterloo and all that kind of stuff. And he's missing his chess tonight, so he chose to do that. It's fine. He wants to go out to dinner, choosing the Mandarin, which is a Chinese buffet place. So he always, last time we went to, what's that?
Down with that.
The Brazilian steakhouse, Copacabana. So we went to Copacabana last year. He loved that. And just like, more steak. But he's into sushi now. So he wants to go to Mandarin that has that there.
You gotta get the right sushi spot.
Yeah, January the 29th, man. What a crazy. He was 2 weeks late, and my daughter was 5.5 weeks early. So a tale of two kids. He came out 10 pounds, something, like a big baby, and my daughter came out 5 pounds. So it's just a
polar opposite.
Crazy situation up in there. But yeah, thanks for that, and thanks everybody there in the chat. So he'll probably really like seeing that. But okay, yeah, that's that. AMD, I just changed it. I mean, we are getting lower. We're at the day's low for AMD. We said we would keep on moving this. I moved it to 250, but now it's even lower here. 249.50 is going to be my out for AMD. I'm just trying to stay disciplined with these outs, right? And because I'm trying to work on seeing about holding something just a little bit longer. And if we can do that, then what lines are we going to follow? How are we going to follow? Those type of things. That's what I'm really worried about. So like I should have essentially, once this move started happening, all of these outs like right into here, once this move broke, That is fine because that's another 200 period test, but I need not have gotten out right into here probably. But there it goes downside. We're trying to get better at all that. And hi-ho is breaking $100. So
breaking. Isn't it already broken?
No, right now. There's the $100 break right now. Wow, Brendan just came back. He was in a meeting. Silver now down 5%. Everything cracking. Like, that was a $10 move lower there. 10% intraday on SLV. I mean, we started the show sort of saying that this was going to crack at one point. And I don't think down 5% is necessarily cracking here. YSS is about to crack. This might happen earlier than we think here, Neil. I don't even see it anymore on here.
No, but the open interest is...
There it is, 500,000.
Still 500,000 shares.
But I don't mind the paired value. The paired... I got to get one that only has this, but the paired value was, I was saying 500,000, but you're right, the open interest right now is not that heavy. So right now, Goldman Sachs and the lead underwriter, it's Goldman Sachs and Jefferies, like they just only have 45,000 shares here of people willing to buy it, and look what the price is, 38. So I don't know why they're running this thing higher right now, but that's the price. It's 38 bucks. We're going to get our stops in. You know, if this breaks below the price where it opens, then we do want to stop out of this stock immediately. The sort of trade for me is, if this is not a huge buy imbalance, then you sort of want to take the opening trade. Wow, silver is
now down to...
I'll just finish my thoughts, but you want to take the opening trade and then get out if it breaks, especially on a day like today where there's absolute massacre happening.
I'm not locked that I'm taking it.
In the market, I'm not...
I'll take it.
I'm in it to take it.
I'm going to take a minimum lot on.
Yeah, so that's just a different beast there. Wow. All right, man. And then here's the silver trade that I was just talking about. We got that super chat early, and I still got to thank Eddie, man. If you're not part of the chat, Eddie the dealer has dropped 110 memberships today. So you got to be in the chat. Hit the subscribe to get into the chat. Have your automatic memberships enabled, and you'll get one right there. $5 a month, you'll get Sharice's morning note, and you'll thank us later, or you'll thank Eddie later. But there goes silver. I don't even, that break of 105, instead of going long, we could have gone short. But that was yesterday's close, and I wanted to support it. There it goes. Here, this is what you get. So you see all this? You get these handsome little emojis there when you become a member. But anyways, play around with that. And thank you to Eddie. Big time, man. Big time thank you. To Eddie, the dealer.
Yeah, big shout out to Eddie.
You know what he's dealing? He's dealing memberships. That's what he's dealing.
What's crazy is like people have to get on getting into the chat so they can take advantage of the memberships in the first place. So please do so, because that's important. Like if you're not in the chat, you can't get the free membership. I ended up taking that Intel break almost instantaneously. So it jumped up. There was a hard reject at the first 10-cent level, just to go over what happened. Now my stop's at the prior bar every single time. However, I did flat half of it like instantly. Just looking at the way the break was going on the tape, immediately flatted half and left the other half with my stop. IBIT reversion is still that's still holding the higher low for now, but it's not giving me any reason to jump back into the trade. Like to add back in, it's putting a higher low as we speak, but I'm not there yet to want to average back up into this. I want to see another higher low, like actually establish a trend like this. Stair step, bottom, give me a higher low, then give me another higher low, and then you can convince me that we're looking a little bit better. Palantir still stinks. It's heading back. It's trying to do the same thing. It's trying to put in that higher low. Once it proves it can do that, I think it can be worth like a shot into the volume weighted average price. And then of course, silver. At this point, 7% down. The only thing left on silver is, in terms of lows, would be like the 95 level. But on a 15-minute chart, I said I want reversions on the 15-minute chart on silver. Look how sharp this is. You can't even really draw a trend line on the 15-minute. That's how ridiculously sharp it is. It's not even setting that up. Like when it did this before, it was stair-stepping to the downside, not completely falling all over itself. So I don't really have much to work with there outside of looking at the lower time frame on silver. So if it sets up on the 3, that's what I'll have to wait for. But not yet. Not yet. Still want to be patient.
I'm trying to be patient here, but I'm trying to also get in a little bit here on this TQQ trade. It just looks like the Nasdaq, I don't know if it's basing out in here or not, but we've had a little bit of a base that just got formed about 10 minutes ago, and then we had a real nice bump up. Like if we can get a bump up to $55 right now, then we can exit out of this trade, or maybe some 54.8. Well, let's first of all play our plan. If this comes up to that 54, 60 area, we will sit there and we'll take an out for like maybe 20%, and then we'll see, because that's our 200, that's our 21 period moving average, the same one that we're following AMD down, which we might get stopped out of AMD soon. And then we're just going to give this to 54 break. It's not even, there's not even really a level here for that. I'm just trying to find out, you know, if there is something happening on this name, we'll try it. And 54, I'm not looking down here at that. This is, again, a triple levered ETF. If you're really going to look for key levels, you may want to look at, you know, the Nasdaq itself or whatever. But we'll try one more piece, and then honestly, if we break 54, I just giving myself an out. Like 20 cents is my upside sort of target on a little piece. So if we lose 20, 30 cents on the downside, that is pretty comfortable for me, and we'll do that, and we'll give back, obviously, if that happens, a little bit of energy back on that trade. So we're just going to wait for that, and that's about it. 54 break, and we're out of this trade. I'll average it back in like 54.12s or something. We'll get another piece, but that's what we're going to do. See if we can take a little bit of risk on this name, and then back there to the upside on hopefully the Nasdaq, just giving it a little bit of space there to see what it wants to do. And speaking about space, we still wait for YSS. Right now, 573,000 paired off, and the value is still 38 on the tap.
That's so small. I can't remember a time it was past 10 o'clock. And the liquidity looks so small.
Maybe it opens up early.
Just very quickly, did not reload on IBIT. I think that was the right call. Like, it tried to bounce. It was a mean reversion play, and if it breaks the prior bar, then I'm going to jump out. There was just a super chat up there.
Oh, was it?
We're going to go to Adara first, and we'll come back and we'll get to that super chat.
Let you guys know, I saw some people in the chat asking about the U.S. natural gas storage data. So negative 242 barrels, forecast here negative 238, previous negative 120. So that's the deal there with these natural gas storage barrels as we do get another low in the Nasdaq. Also, guys, if there's any kind of earnings content that you want on XATTV Research, any earnings you want visualized, please tag me in the chat and let me know so that we can get that content out there for you guys. Also, UiPath on watch list just came through. Banyan Hill calling this one a long idea. So again, long call here for PATH. Back to you.
Okay, we're gonna throw that super chat back up because I know it got missed there, and that's from Aodell Smith. I just think the market is realizing that the overspending on AI is not bringing in the returns the companies promised over and over and over again. I mean, Meta's revenues were pretty big; they weren't bad, but I think I would have to agree with
the numbers have been huge. I agree with that.
Both Microsoft and Meta came out with higher than expectation on the Capex spend. I was surprised. Like I said, just keep watching the Capex spend on Meta. That's, if it's too big, it's not going to be good for them. It ended up not mattering. It ended up mattering more for Microsoft. Now down 12%. Meta, on the other hand, this will be deceiving because it's up 7.5%. But overall, since the open, it's been selling. So the money has been coming out of this. It was good volume in the post market as well, but this is only barely holding on to the low. So I would agree that could be a theme for the weakness that we have here for sure. It's just weird to me that Meta's up 7.5% if we're really thinking that.
Wow.
Like if that's the theme, why is Meta not falling even further?
Have you even witnessed, I know you're witnessing it, you're talking about Meta, but no, AMD is down to 245? Like this is first of all, it's $12 in the money, so we'll go bearish on that one, and we'll do, we already talked about this, the face slapper in the same shirt that I have. More hair there, less facial hair, same shirt. But there goes AMD, man. I don't even, like now that, oh, that's a 15-minute chart. I was gonna see now, where's my 1 minute candle now, 248. So let's just adjust this, man. Our last stop on that was 249.50. We can now go, let's go 247.51. I'm long, while the TQs might come out in just a couple seconds right here, but there it comes. So big level, the level doesn't matter. 1 penny, there it goes, 1 penny below, we're gone. So we actually get, I'd hate to punch out at the very bottom there, but it was not a big position. We're just trying to test, okay, you know what? Maybe we did, all right, let's put on something. I know this is going to look a little bit revenge trading, but we just might have got taken out there near some of those lows. Let's just give it, we'll put on the same trade again, but this time with like 20 cents worth of risk. Let's go to 53.89. And if that winds up losing, then we can, okay, well, here it comes right back in. All right, it looks like we'll get stopped out one more time there. But big trade, obviously, there on AMD. Did I even put that order in? Yes, I did. We still wait for YSS. But yeah, it doesn't look like catching this falling knife is going to work out at all on the Nasdaq because we're down 1.8%. The name that I wanted to call before I realized what was happening there in the futures was Apple. Apple's actually not doing anything. So ahead of, well, let's do it. There we go. We lost again on the futures. Ahead of that earnings play today, Apple right now down 0.17. So it's not actually getting clapped that hard right now. So that would be a name to look at for potential strength maybe if this market ever rebounds. So maybe Apple would be something to look at there. But yeah, so far not so good. We just tried the few. Look, we tried it twice. I call this the futures, it's the TQs, it's the Nasdaq. But a couple tries there at 54 bucks. Just thought maybe enough was enough off that little bottom there. But once that broke, I guess it was baked in to go lower. So there it goes, man. Yeah. Anyways, 54 bucks on the TQs. Let's see if it winds up holding, man. The better play may be an Apple, but to try to find a long now just seems kind of like disastrous. Is that the same super chat? Did Tesla snap?
No, that's it. Oh, that's a different super chat. Our bad, Aodell. To answer your question, Microsoft and Meta aren't the only stocks. You missed Tesla and SAP overnight. Yeah, of course, out of Europe as well. SAP had its worst day, down day in, I forget, it was a very long time. I forget exactly how long. No, yeah, you're right. I mean, oftentimes, like you'll hear us summarize things.
Tough to grab them all.
No, you can't really mention everything, but you're right. There's more breadth to this than just a couple of names. We just usually give you the highlights. Again, the only
Here
thing.
comes Apple again.
And like I come back to Intel because it's the only thing which is showing a pretty clean trend. And finally, now it's got 3 points on the uptrend and VWAP, so there's a trend breakdown to follow the market, but also there's a potential trend bounce. I tried the breakout trade and immediately, like I said, I immediately didn't like it, so took out half and then just left the other half to my stop, which was like pre-market high. But this is setting up for a trend break on the 3 for sure on Intel. Just an absolute wood shedding moment. Like Tesla's at 420. That's obviously a big psychological level. It's bounced there before, but when it bounced off 420 last time, it got to 417. So anyone looking for a bounce play on Tesla, remember that last time it was able to bounce here, it bounced off the $17 level, not the 20 level. Same area. $3 on Tesla is not even 1%. To put it into perspective.
Whoopsies.
So it's still within.
How did that even fill?
If it even goes through. Yeah, so I'm still gonna look at Intel because it's got this nice clean trend line that I can work with.
So I must have put in the wrong price. I meant to get in once we broke this, but I guess we just broke it right there. So we're gonna go long on silver now, just because we're finally breaking that period marker there, the 21 period. So we'll take a long here at 50, see if it wants to go, give it just a couple more breaths down below 100 bucks and then get stopped out. We bounced off of this 99.75 a couple times. So we'll see. All right, again, not putting in a bunch of risk into there, but just thought maybe this was the first time we could have got a momentum break right there on SLV. No, if anything, that might have been a short. That top is right there. We actually got into the money and could have taken out about 30 or 40 cents, but instead we do wind up losing that as that comes right back in again as well. Still waiting for YSS, but yeah, will there be a bottom in silver? I mean, the dollar is starting to come back down a little bit here, so we could see some strength in silver, but yeah, so far not so good on SLV today. Down breaking through 100 bucks, and oh boy, nice downside move again for SLV. Wow, good thing. See? Like you get stopped out, you lose whatever we lost there, 50 cents I believe it was, and downside now, and it's a good thing we got out. Man, that would have been a good short, eh? All right, now $14 in the money on AMD as that just continues to go lower. We should fix our stop order on AMD, but that is just really tanking 247.50. Where did I put it? I put it at 247.50. Okay, so we're fine. All right, over to Adara in what is a bloodbath day, down 2% here. You know what, like Mag 7, yeah, right. We had 3 of those names report, and they're all death. So I don't even know what this means moving forward, man. Megadeath, yeah, Megadeath. Yeah. Microsoft down 12%. And where is Meta? And then we'll go to Adara. Meta 712. We didn't think that was going to be hit today.
It's going to be a weird day to take along in an IPO, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it does. All right, back over to Adara in the back.
And it's funny too, because as that super chat said, there is a lot more to the market. And I bring that up because, yes, the market's down, but you wouldn't necessarily guess that just by looking at some of these sectors. Finance to the upside, health tech mostly to the upside with the exception of Thermo Fisher earnings day one. Consumer durables to the upside. You've got consumer services to the upside, mostly helped by two earnings plays, Comcast and RCL. Communications to the upside, utilities to the upside, energy minerals to the upside, distribution to the upside. Non-energy minerals being dragged down by Newmont, trading lower with gold down about 5% right now. But let's talk tech services, because this is where you really start to see the earnings influence. And by that I mean a lot of tech services sharply to the downside, trading lower, with Microsoft down a whopping 12%. Palantir, you've got down 6%. Oracle, 5% to the downside and nearing the 160 level. But then you have two earnings plays that are really strong here. Meta up nearly 7%, and IBM pulling up back aggressively from highs, but still up about 5%. Meanwhile, electronic technology, that's going to be a lot weaker across the board here. AMD, Micron, Broadcom, Nvidia all down 2% or more. So kind of a mixed picture in tech. But again, when you look beyond tech, a lot of things are quite strong. Back to you.
So, oh, there we go. So if YSS is still indicating, oh, never mind. The tap, where's my tap go? Yeah, it's still indicating 38 with a small open interest, but I was just telling Sean, the locates usually here at Real Trading on an IPO, paying to be able to go short, what I mean, typically once the stock is available to ask, it'll be one price, and then as you get closer to the open, the price goes down. It's stayed at an elevated level, relatively speaking. So there's actually maybe more demand for traders to want to short this thing. But it's still a buy and balance. It's indicating 38 with a price at 34, so we'll see what happens with it. Intel does not break higher. It ends up breaking lower. So that trend that we were looking at, it breaks the trend to the downside. So if it's going to break the trend to the downside, I shorted into it, but I did not get filled in the 90s. I actually had to chase it to the 80s because that's how far it went down. Bouncing off the lows. And if we continue this pattern, I'll look to short into the volume-weighted average price there, as it has been absolute death. Bitcoin just went through 85,000 and continuing to go lower and lower and lower. My goodness. Like, we haven't been, like you were saying, we haven't been down here since the November lows. Like, you're basically, the 47 level is all we got on IBIT. And yeah, they're just saying our ISS still indicating 88. I'm taking a minimum lot on the IPO for two reasons. One, it's got low volume, indicated by the paired volume being 600,000 shares only and not millions. And then the second part is the sentiment in the market right now is incredibly bullish. Actually pretty bearish.
Yeah, indicating 38 off 34. So we'll see when that goes. But it's just hitting in our ear now, so I have no idea when that's going to wind up hitting. All right, man, tried silver once, twice, three times. Yeah, I'll try it again. I just think breaking, I'm just looking for, like, we're not down, well, we're down on it, but we're not down much. We can get this back, and it's just such a dramatic move, and we called this. We never called this move down there. We saw a little bit of a worry spot yesterday when we started talking a little bit about the US dollar. But yeah, silver right now hitting the skids. And I was going to go long on 99.50 break, that little link right there for a break longer, and then just give it 50 cents back to 99. So that was going to be the trade that I was looking at. But as this continues to fall, I'm still looking at it, and I still will take it. But I'm definitely not sitting in front of this. And I just go back to that talk that we had. We got a super chat earlier, 10 or 20 bucks, and the individual was down $2,000 on this trade. And it was like, look, man, I don't know how much, what kind of exposure you've got to that in options, but like that break right there sort of was the bottom, right? And we said as soon as you break some of those pre-market levels, and of course that was a level that was just sort of developed during the day as we opened up in the first 20 minutes. Once we broke that, it was sort of downside, and then I took the 105, and I'm fine taking that. That was yesterday's closing area. I was really happy to do that. We gave ourselves 50 cents, and then we gave ourselves another 50 cents right here on basically a break of the 21 period. Look how nice this looks downside. I'm still going to take it breaking 99.50 as we said, so that will happen. And then see, like it moves like 75 cents at a time here. So you got to be very, very careful with that. But here we go. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it 50 cents. So, don't at me when I lose or anything like that. That's the plan. If it loses 50 cents, we're out. We've share sized appropriate for that kind of a play. And if it goes upside, then yeah, we have way bigger upside risk than 50 cents or a gain, potential gain on this trade. So let's just see if there is a little bit of a bounce back. And of course, gold bouncing would be nice as well, and that's not happening. So we'd like to see obviously both of them bounce in order to make a difference. But yeah, that's what we're doing right now. Just waiting for SLV to get through that level. If you see a 99.50 print, that'll trigger me in. And I'm doing this all automatic, so you know, the order's in there. As soon as it hits on the time and sales, our software will fire out a bid and fill me, and we'll see what price I get. It's not a market order. I'm only crossing up 10 cents. Hopefully that gets me that fill, and then we'll work on it after that. But yeah, wow. Uber getting killed, man. Everything. Tesla.
Well, just look at your quote boards.
Yeah.
I'm assuming people have quote boards. No, but if I just look at my quote board, like look at the depth. We have ETH 7% down, Coinbase 6%, Affirm, cash and trades 4%, ARM 4%, AMD 3, Broadcom 3, Intel, which was somehow relatively strong, is down 2%, Amazon, Alibaba, Boeing, like everything I watch. And what's going to be up today? The VIX probably, Moderna. I mean, Meta's tricky. Look at Meta since the open is down 2.5%. CCL, remember RCL reported, so they're to the upside. That's where the strength is going to be. The strength has been in those names, and of course, feed. Shout out to this. Holding VWAP, still up 70%. Look at this, look at it go. This actually has a pretty good wedge pattern. If you're watching this thing go nuts and you're looking for an entry, it hasn't gone to VWAP, but it's forming a bit of a wedge. So you could have like a wedge breakout. This pattern breaks in both directions, obviously. Like it could easily break lower too, but yeah, that's where the strength has been. And I'm hoping it'll be in the IPO, still gonna take a min lot there. Intel has not come back in for a VWAP retracement, so still waiting to get more shares as this has finally turned the other direction. If this loses the bid, if the market ends up with a 2%, like more than like a 2.5 to 3% day, and like 2% isn't the turning point in the Nasdaq, then Intel's got a huge shelf that it can lose at this low. And if that happens, I'm going to be in this trade, either with the breakdown or just the VWAP short.
Yeah, so I stopped to fail on myself there. That was a fail. So like every time we break, you know, it should just be a long. It should be a short, sorry, at this 21 period moving average. But like I'm almost stupid enough to take this again. Like I never going to be able to predict, you know, an exact price on something like this. So we could actually maybe roll a little bit lighter and try to hold this for a little bit more. But I kind of feel like there's a little bit of a base here, and I don't want to be. Is that another 50 super chats?
It's another super chat.
It's another 50 memberships.
Another 50 memberships.
From what I can see.
Eddie's going nuts.
Eddie, man, you have really dropped that. Yeah, so we're using, Neil has the quote board that he shows. We have our own proprietary software here. It's called P8. So it's with real trading. But he's talking about the quote board there.
Yeah, this is on the P8 system. So what you do in P8 is you make a bunch of lists for all the things that you're watching. Like I have like close trade, watch list, upgrades, downgrades, Bitcoin. Sometimes when I used to do the pre-market, like the pre-market updates when Adara was gone, I'd make lists for that. I have a hot list, healthcare futures, and then I have my today in play is just that's the stocks that I'm following. So I just load a list up and it'll automatically get all the columns I want. Only a day trader would actually have the bid and ask size. Because I want to see if on one of the stocks I'm watching there's like a ridiculous size order, then I'd be able to look at it on my quote board. And that's all in the P8 system here. So in real trading, if you're at real trading, it's a useful tool. And then if I want to look at Uber, I just click Uber, slide over, guess what chart just popped up? Uber. So it gives you like a base of operations, that's all. It is already 10:50, which I know means we've got to go over to Adara, I believe.
Let's talk money talks. I mean, it's been quite the week for the U.S. dollar, hasn't it, guys? Between U.S. President Trump saying that he can move it up and down like a yo-yo, quote unquote. We had Scott Bessent yesterday talking about this DXY as well and denying any reports that there was going to be some intervention here with the U.S. dollar and the yen. Now, this was actually the reports of this intervention here is actually what caused this gap down. So we're going to have to wait and see here. Either way, since Bessent's comments, the DXY has calmed down a little bit. This is our second green day, but again, we are coming off a lot of weakness here for that DXY. Tomorrow morning, we do get some PPI data that I think it is important to remind you all of. That's going to be PPI year over year and month over month, and also core year over year, month over month. We are expecting on the year over year side, both core and non-core to actually be a little bit lower. So we're expecting a cooling here in year over year PPI. PPI month over month expected to be flat, but then PPI core month over month actually expected to be hotter than than previous. So this is going to be kind of a mixed number here, it looks like, for PPI. I also want to recap the FOMC decision. So again, once again, for the straight meetings since I believe July of 2025, we continue to have some dissenting votes. In this case, 2 dissenting votes, both Waller and Myron voting in favor of a 25 basis point cut. The rest of the Fed and the majority voting for no rate change, which is what ended up being implemented. Now, with that vote in mind, 86.6% of participants still not expecting any cut in March. Only roughly 13% of participants expecting that March cut, but we have almost 2 months to go until that meeting, so things are likely to change. As of yesterday, the first meeting where you start seeing cut odds is going to be June. Looks like that is still the case, guys. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe.
8 minutes to go. Oh, no. No.
Minutes for what? Oh, yeah, we still got to do what's for lunch. I didn't even realize the time here.
Yeah, feed.
Right now.
For the first time today, feed just lost volume weighted average price. Look, it's been having such an unbelievable day. Like, it is what it is. It's up 66%. These things can't last forever. But it ends up breaking that trend in the other direction, unfortunately, for feed. Not dead. It could hold on to VWAP here. Maybe it just rinsed some people out. Maybe? I don't know. But that was like the only kernel of strength. Like, we can forget about VWAP on Intel. That's just not happening. It's now closing the gap. I don't know how far this gap is going to go, but $47 is the target. So target is a target at 47. That's what I'll look for. So 7 minutes until 11 o'clock, but that's just a number. That feed is still 700,000 shares open interest for this IPO. 700,000 shares. I'll be real with you guys. I don't think there's a single IPO that was over $500 million.
Another 20 memberships.
Where it's less than 1 million indicated for the open volume. Usually it's at least a few million shares. This is about as low as it gets. Could some of it have to do with the market, like the valuation being low? Maybe. Could some of it have to do with the market doing what it's doing right now? Possibly as well. But this does not have the profile of some of the better IPOs that we've seen. And another 50.
We're now, another 20. I think there's been about 200 memberships or so from Eddie. That's 200 times $5. This guy's given $1,000 right now in Super Chats. So thank you so much, man. And it's not only Super Chats, he's giving it back to the people like we talked about. So, hit the subscribe. You got to go over, hit subscribe, become a member, get into the chat, and then just ask Gemini or something how to accept Super Chats or how to accept memberships, because there's a way to set up your system so you can do that. There's probably like 100 and change people in the chat, so if you get in there right now, then you'll be part of this. So we want to thank Eddie. All right, man, here we go. We finally got something now. Now we've got silver. All right, let's take out a piece right here at O's. If we can get that at 100, there it is. We got some there. So nice play there, 50 cents or so. We said we wanted to take that break. We lost 50 cents a couple times on this, so we'll make 50 cents back and see if it can continue upside right now on silver. Of course, it can't do that the first time I punch in, and so I have to take the loss. And then now the second time, here we go, man. It will be $1. I hope so anyways. Let's put an offer up here at 10, just ahead of this level there, 101. So let's go to $100 and like 80 cents. We'll put an offer there, and then we'll see if the rest can fly, and we'll try to play off of that. And I don't know if you heard me, but we're still $15, $16 now in the money on this AMD short. But it's just right into here, 244.50 would be the area. I put a 245 trigger out. So if that does happen, we're going to get out of that YSS. Neil just talked about it. Still 700,000 shares paired. We'll wait to see when that hits. And we'll probably, I don't know, I don't want to speak for Neil, but I'm going to take it. The share size, yeah, going to be in question what kind of share size we actually use on that. But we'll be here.
1/10 of the last one.
Okay, perfect. So then you'll hear us on the midday show probably. If we take it, Sharif's going to be here, Joe's going to be here. YSS probably opening. Look, IPOs have opened up at the latest about 1:30. So I can't, it'd be silly for us to promise anything. But you know what's been going?
Those guys are going to get some.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to be there. So if they're there, they'll shout out when it opens. And I'm sure all of you in the chat will as well. It's kind of a hot thing because of aerospace and satellites and all that, what's going up. So York, what's it called again? York Space Station or something like that? Oh man, I'm all over the place on that one. Okay, so Bitcoin's the lowest level since early December, down 5% on Bitcoin. But the financials is the only real green shoot here today. Financials finally going to the upside a little bit, so that's good. Meta, well, I mean, Meta's great. We talked about Meta, but I can't sit here and tell you, you know, the Nasdaq has been performing quite well. So Meta and IBM, remember IBM was up, what, 10% at one point? Now only up 5.2%, but still a great day for Meta and IBM shareholders, that is for sure. Oppo day, I said Nvidia was gonna be a blast long because, you know, we thought that, hey, with all this Capex, and it seems like the story continues in the space, but no, Nvidia down 2%. Broadcom keeps getting slapped, man. AMD is the big one for me, man, 15 bucks in the money on that. Micron down, Intel down, Amazon down, Tesla, the other earnings name, down. Caterpillar, where's that at? I hope that's still up. Like I said, well, I know you guys own it, so I hope it's down so I can buy it, but I hope it's up for oh, there it is, yeah. So here's,
no way it's up.
yeah, it's up 0.8, holding the bid.
Really?
So yeah, there's, you know what, GE Vernova had that good print. They're down 3%, so we can watch out almost 4% for GE Vernova if you're trying to get an earnings play. That was yesterday.
I'm only surprised because I think like Caterpillar's an AI build-out play as well, as much as it's like GE Vernova. I would expect it to move somewhat similar to that, especially after making a fresh high. Like GE Vernova, of course, in a market like this, of course it's going to be down. But I'm genuinely surprised. Caterpillar, that makes me like this stock even more. If you're flat today, when it wasn't even strong on a good earnings, that's a good sign. I think this is a very good sign for a cat. Right, Intel just bounced hard off the 47 level. The 47 was just yesterday's breakout level, that's all. So there's your breakout through 47 yesterday. Hey, that's pretty cool. So when it broke out 47, the actual top was basically the same high that it made today. So if you take the opening range yesterday on Intel, that's the opening top to bottom here today. This YSS, like we said, we'll be all over it for you. And the only name, when I look at the locator, we haven't even looked at the locator today. Right. So there is a locator. We've talked about every name here: Tesla, Palantir, Feed a million times, Silver, Microsoft, Meta, Robinhood was discussed, Nvidia, SQQ. I'm going to skip TCGL. We haven't. Apologies. And AMD, SoFi. We have Carvana. We have not. So I don't know this TCGL. I'm sure that's some kind of a small capper. But yesterday, Carvana with the short seller report from. Shoot, I don't remember the name of the whatever. It wasn't one of the ones that we know by name.
Gotham City Research.
How could you forget that name?
That's such a cool name. How could I forget that? Gotham City Research. I should never forget that again. Gotham City Research is the coolest name for a short seller ever, and Carvana is still up 3.5.
I wonder where they're located.
Gotta be in Chicago.
Yeah, probably Chicago, or maybe in downtown Toronto. I don't know, something like that.
For those that don't know, obviously Gotham City is modeled after Chicago and Metropolis, New York. I think most people know that in the DC universe.
Yep. Another out a little bit there on silver as we're just taking 50 cents there. Don't know where this thing's going to drop into, but we do know something that we have today, every day around here, unless it's a snow day.
Based on the market, it's got to be tilapia.
At a lunch, oh, man, we just had tilapia last week, man. I know it was a good one, and you guys were really, really excited.
We have it every week.
It was a minute before we had it, but now it is back. Bruce Wayne, the CEO of that report, yes. So, okay, man, Thursday today we have a British flag, so that's nice. And today we've had this many times, and we've talked about it on the show. And actually, this time it's not shepherd's pie. So shepherd's pie must be the lamb. That's the thing, because right now today we've got beef pot pie. So beef pot pie. Generally, chicken pot pie is for. Popular in my family, but beef pot pie right there with roasted seasoned vegetables, ooh, biscuits and gravy, along with a little side salad. That's what's for lunch, beef pot pie.
Biscuits and gravy.
I mean, I think I'm pretty happy about beef pot pie. We'll see how that goes. We had beef yesterday, so that's always a little shaky. You don't like to have the same protein back-to-back days.
It was good, though. It
was good.
No, my complaint about the beef yesterday was that there wasn't enough of it.
Yeah, no, I meant like the quality. Like if it's the same protein, maybe it was
I thought it was fine.
Rehashed.
I thought it was fine.
No, I thought yesterday was great. So hopefully we have another repeat of that. But it's 11 o'clock already. So YSS still indicating 38 bucks.
It's up to 800,000 now.
Yeah.
At least get to 1 million. If you
it will. It will.
1 million shares.
Beef style tilapia pot pie. Yeah. Famous right there. So we did average in. We got a little 99 there on silver, and now it goes blasting to the high side now. So we're making a little bit of money back here on silver. Maybe it does give us that winning feel about it. Again, more outs there, as now we're 70 cents in the money on SLV. Let's see if there is a little bit of a turnaround. $16 in the money on AMD, SLV. Good day today, Neil. We will see everybody very, very soon. The campus program Kunal wants to